Fire consumes everything as the Wingless Dragon Cebarumus emerges from the inferno, its massive form radiating pure destruction. A red-haired warrior screams through the chaos. This is the master of a high-difficulty dungeon. His companion in white robes can barely contain his terror, but can their defenses hold against what's coming next? An armored elder's eyes widen in disbelief. There, in the heart of this deadly battlefield, stands a small green goblin clutching a rock. The creature looks utterly confused as flames and smoke engulf everything around him. What's a goblin doing here, in a place where even seasoned warriors fear to tread? The impossible happens. A goblin, this pathetic little creature, moves with lightning speed and overwhelming power. A blonde warrior can only stare in horror as the goblin crushes the dragon in a single devastating attack. The crowd watches in stunned silence. How can a monster be fighting another monster? Could this be someone's summoned beast? Recognition sparks in a dark-haired boy's eyes as he points excitedly. It's that guy, the one who summoned the goblin. But this moment of revelation fades to mundane reality. Back in the real world, he's just another worker struggling with his job, drinking water and contemplating his place. He knows the truth. He's obviously the weakling who belongs in low-level dungeons. Workplace gossip spreads like wildfire. Have you heard about Mr. Cha? They say he's been so obsessed with Heaven's Door that he stopped showing up for work. The rumor mill churns with excitement, something about him getting a hidden class that could change everything. The anticipation is electric. A purple dragon explains the phenomenon sweeping the world, a full-dive virtual reality game so immersive that players forget reality itself. The technology is expensive, keeping the poor locked out. But for those who find the right method, the game offers something unprecedented, a world where virtual currency becomes real money. Heaven's Door became a true game changer, one character reflects. At first he enjoyed it, used to. Now he witnesses others performing ultimate moves like skill strike rock with explosive energy. Meanwhile, a dark-haired character expresses his frustration with disbelief. This is so dumb. The gap between expectation and reality couldn't be wider. Euphoria erupts as he discovers a glowing crystal worth at least 300,000 won. This is why he mines moments like these that make all the grinding worthwhile. His exuberant laughter echoes through the cavern. But then reality intrudes again. Where's his legendary hero story? Where's the gorgeous party member he was supposed to marry? A white-haired woman approaches hopefully. They need a skilled miner. But he hesitates, claiming his level is too low for safe dungeon exploration. A stout dwarf nearby makes assumptions about his mining abilities, revealing the prejudiced dwarf's face. The proposition is tempting, though shared experience and high-level ores could change everything. His confession comes out awkwardly. He's attracted to strong women with powerful arms. The vulnerability is overwhelming as he grips his weapon nervously. Behind him lurks a level 7 gray wolf, its massive form a constant threat. A red-haired girl cries out in distress, but his own weakness haunts him. He's still lower level than the monsters around him. Catherine Lee, the striking magician, orders him not to move as flames rage behind her. Her concern is genuine. Is he hurt anywhere? He can only marvel at her incredible strength as she single-handedly wiped out an entire gray wolf pack. When she pleads for him to stay by her side, his mind races with impossible hope. Wolf Fang explains their mission with casual confidence. They've discovered a suspicious rock that only high-level mining can break. They need help from people like him. But what does he mean by people like me? The dark-haired protagonist swings his weapon at the mysterious rock, missing with a sharp crack that echoes through the cavern. Frustration boils over. He can't ignore being treated like an idiot. You think I don't have combat skills? His anger erupts in desperate defiance. But reality crashes down hard. He swings wildly, screaming his admission. Damn it. He doesn't have combat skills at all. The vulnerability is crushing. Tension mounts as they question the reliability of their information. The stakes are clear. If there's nothing beyond that ore, the losses would be catastrophic. A character in a brown vest grows increasingly agitated, expressing his boredom with the situation. Then an explosive sound effect punctuates his mounting frustration. Catherine Lee stands majestically in her red gown as they make the stunning discovery. This is a hidden dungeon. The excitement is infectious as a bearded warrior shouts about hitting the jackpot. Special rewards, hidden classes, everything they've dreamed of could be within reach. But Catherine's question cuts through the celebration. Now he can turn his life around like Mr. Cha. The determination is fierce as he clenches his fists. But suddenly, agonizing pain strikes. He can't breathe. Meanwhile, a PK mode activated notification flashes ominously. Others discuss how hard this hidden dungeon is to access, requiring only mining skills. The irony is bitter. The betrayal cuts deep as Wolf Fang smirks with cruel satisfaction. Don't be bitter about this. They did all the fighting while he just tagged along. The realization hits like a sledgehammer. These cowards knew about the hidden dungeon from the start. His fury builds as the truth becomes undeniable. Gasping for breath, he realizes he's still inside the dungeon. They didn't kill him. Maybe they had some decency. But no, that wasn't it. He died and came back. The advanced healing crystal revived him with full health. His anguish explodes as the truth hits. His 300,001 is gone. Those bastards took everything. But the hidden dungeon door remains open. The dungeon hasn't been cleared yet. His rage crystallizes into cold determination. You think he's leaving after losing his healing crystal? Screw that. He's crashing their party and turning their lives around too. He'll be their worst nightmare. He leaps into the hidden dungeon's entrance, only to immediately curse the stairs that greet him. Tumbling headfirst down the steps, he hits the ground hard. But wait, he actually entered. This must be the hidden dungeon. Before him looms a massive goblin shrine, far grander than he ever imagined. What kind of place is this? Is this really all there is for a low-level hidden dungeon? How boring. The silence is unnerving. Where did the others go? His confidence wavers as he surveys the empty space. Then horror strikes like lightning. Blood pools on the ground. A fallen comrade lies motionless. His scream of terror echoes through the shrine. The dwarf from earlier. What the hell happened here? His mind races as he spots the fallen warrior. Is he holding off pressing the revive button so he won't miss the hidden dungeon? The greed is staggering. But then a warning message appears, alerting players to the dungeon's high difficulty. A scream pierces the air. What's happening? That voice. His blood runs cold as recognition dawns. Isn't this supposed to be a goblin shrine? But what emerges from the shadows defies all logic, a monstrous creature with elongated limbs and a terrifying, emaciated appearance. Red energy crackles around its form as it grips a dagger. What the hell is that thing? Nausea overwhelms him as the worst-case scenario unfolds before his eyes. The retching sound echoes through the tunnel as his body rebels against the horror. A sinister figure extends long, grasping fingers toward unspeakable acts. There have been plenty of games chasing realism before, but nothing like this. Help me, please save me. A silver-haired girl's desperate plea cuts through his paralysis. But his fear is stronger than his heroism, like hell he'd save her. What can he do against that thing? When you're hit by a monster dozens of levels higher, pain and trauma don't disappear just because your character revives. The game's neural interface can directly affect your brain. In severe cases, it can lead to brain death, actual death. He can't let that thing be the one to take him down. This isn't his fault anyway. They abandoned him first. He's weak, so of course he's no help. So he runs. Survival trumps everything else, even if he has to survive alone. But then a voice echoes with ominous recognition. The Goblin Lord feels kinship with his cowardice and weakness. Goblin Lord. His eyes widen in confusion as he finds himself in a grand, imposing hall where a shadowy figure sits regally on a throne. You think I chose to be powerless? The silver-haired girl's anguish erupts from the ground. If she had even a shred of strength, she wouldn't have run. Meanwhile, his own frustrations pour out. He wanted a proper job where people don't look down on him. He wanted to fight monsters, not mine rocks with awesome skills like everyone else. His rage reaches its breaking point. Why should he be insulted for being weak? It's not like he did anything wrong. Who is this goblin to look down on him from that throne? You're just a goblin, for God's sake. And now even a goblin feels sorry for him. Fine, he is a goblin, so what, damn it? Hidden class. Goblin. Summoner. This is a hidden class. Are you kidding me? His disbelief transforms into horror as he rejects the offer vehemently. I reject it, but the system confirms his class change despite his protests. A grotesque creature emerges from the shadows as he realizes there's no turning back now. A weak-looking goblin appears with a shriek. His cruel smile reveals his plan. He'll use this pathetic creature as bait to escape. Go forth, goblin, defeat him. The goblin charges forward with surprising enthusiasm, screaming its battle cry. Whatever works to get him out of this nightmare alive. Now it's time to run away. But wait. The ominous creature's threatening growl fills the air as his goblin companion reacts with confusion. Suddenly, his experience points surge upward. What? New skills unlock before his eyes. Feed goblin and walk goblin. Something incredible is happening. The goblin dances cheerfully as its EXP increases, but then reality hits. Holy shit! This freaking weak-looking goblin. His eyes widen in absolute disbelief as he checks the stats. Is actually max level. The pathetic creature he summoned as disposable bait is the most powerful ally he could have imagined. Meanwhile, in the real world, crisis unfolds. A man in a black suit desperately tries to wake an unconscious woman trapped in a virtual reality pod. Miss, wake up, miss. Her white hair spills around her terrified face as she remains locked in the game's grip. The boundary between virtual and reality grows dangerously thin. No, this is. The man in the black suit recognizes the signs with growing horror. A retire. The girl's terrified expression reflects the severity of their situation. Explosive chaos erupts as notifications announce level-ups, blending the virtual carnage with real-world consequences. The game has become far more dangerous than anyone realized. The goblin's level-up celebration echoes through the chaos as his master crouches among crystal shards, frustrated and exhausted. Hey, give me a break, goblin. He cleared the hidden dungeon the moment he caught the Jiger, but his party members are all dead. His only escape now is through death itself. The interface shows summoned monster goblin, but no details are available yet. Doesn't matter. His eyes blaze with manic determination. If this is a bug, he has to exploit it before they patch it. With this goblin, he doesn't have to mine anymore. He can become the best in heaven's door. At the bank, his virtual wealth converts to real money. The bank transaction proceeds smoothly as he nervously requests to send money to a different account. The employee remains professional, calculating his total earnings from the Jiger's membrane and heart. But then a voice interrupts, "Sir." The bank manager approaches with tea, questioning the priorities of this mysterious customer's unseen boss. In a sleek office, the older manager in glasses discusses investment opportunities with the young customer. The conversation flows casually until the shocking revelation hits. The anticipated worth of his items leaves him staring wide-eyed with a bowl of food frozen in his hands. The numbers are beyond anything he imagined. "Goblin, I paid back 10% of my debt thanks to you." He lifts the cheerful creature in celebration, calling it a cute little bastard. In the bustling town square, onlookers point and whisper about the unusual duo. At least while they're in town, he should introduce his companion properly. The attention is both amusing and concerning. The goblin reacts with confusion as a massive red-haired warrior suddenly appears, demanding answers about being in the streets. Patton the Annihilator, the name alone sends chills through bystanders. Someone who calls himself an annihilator can't possibly be sane. This is bad. Very, very bad. Wait, that's not a monster, but it's too late. PK mode activates as the goblin strikes with devastating force. The impact reverberates through the square as Patton the Annihilator falls, bloodied and defeated. He died. The crowd's horror-struck cry echoes across the battlefield. A goblin killed a man. Shit, if people discover his goblin is a summoned monster, he's finished. A blue-haired guild member threatens consequences for messing with them, while others mock Patton for being embarrassed by a mere goblin. The situation spirals out of control as more dangerous players take notice. Things are getting complicated. Interfere? No way, but all of them ganging up on one goblin would look terrible. The goblin enthusiastically shouts for more targets as another player falls. Minsung the Speedmaster has died. How did everything spiral so completely out of control? He had a max-level goblin and a bright future. An older man urgently directs them to escape. Who are you? A gaunt stranger appears at the doorway, insisting there's no time to explain. The boy runs angrily. You said this way. The man's response chills him. This way to your funeral. A notification reveals the goblin lord appreciates his sneakiness, adding insult to injury. First weak and vulgar, now sneaky too. And now you're calling me sneaky. His indignation fills the throne room as he confronts the imposing creature. What makes him weak, vulgar, and sneaky? He did nothing wrong. It was the others who added him to their party, then betrayed and attacked him. The injustice burns in his voice. We are going to destroy the Demon Guild. His sinister excitement builds as he clutches his goblin companion. A blonde woman warns about the danger, but her ally dismisses the concern. One person should suffice against such a target. The hooded figure delivers an ominous warning about that goblin's previous lethal prowess. Seungriel the Cunning attacks with martial arts precision, but the goblin's shock is evident. Impossible. 0 damage. The dark-haired boy watches in growing dread as his opponent proves unnaturally resilient. This is bad. The realization hits like a hammer blow. I'm gonna die. He manages to parry the goblin's attack, shocking everyone present. An ally desperately asks if he's really going to let a goblin kill him while the green creature prepares another stone strike. The tension peaks as a dark figure reveals himself, Jae-hyun the Deathbringer, ready to unleash his assassin skill. Extreme evil. How displeasing. The cloaked figure's frustration grows as his speed is drastically reduced by whatever passive ability cost half his mana. The blonde warrior sighs in resignation. Fine, let's finish this quickly before anyone sees them. She doesn't want to be caught using combo skills against a scrub. The Gale Arrow's skill activates with devastating power. The cloaked figure strikes without mercy, declaring playtime is over. But the goblin's panic tells a different story. This isn't going according to plan. The blonde woman watches in disbelief as debris explodes around her. What just happened? The goblin's defiant taunt echoes through the chaos, challenging who will truly end whom in one devastating strike. The blonde girl's world crumbles as reality hits. This isn't just any monster. Her voice trembles with disbelief. Meanwhile, the dark-haired boy stands proud beside his grotesque ally, casually admitting the truth. Yeah, I summoned him. The goblin's excited grin widens as the shocking revelation sinks in. Terror grips the blonde girl as she witnesses the goblin's impossible power. How could any goblin possess such strength? The cocky man dismisses her fears with malicious glee, describing himself as extremely angry. When she demands answers about what they did to provoke him, his lewd response sends her into screaming rage. Desperate to clarify the misunderstanding, The young man tries to explain their delicate situation while his goblin companion hisses menacingly. A girl's terrified scream pierces the air. From above, a muscular observer spots familiar faces, the same troublemakers from before. Recognition dawns as tension explodes across the rooftop. The crowd has arrived. The dark-haired boy nervously suggests ending this and running, but it's too late. Bystanders scream in horror, realizing the goblin has annihilated the Everton Guild and threatens the surviving woman. Panic spreads like wildfire. They might be next. The goblin's internal turmoil surfaces as escape becomes impossible. A hero emerges from the crowd. The man in beginner gear shouts with authority, "Let that woman go." His courage stuns the onlookers. How can someone so inexperienced stand against a monster even the Everton Guild couldn't handle? The blonde girl looks resigned as tears fill the brave man's eyes. He won't back down. Confusion washes over him as the crowd erupts in cheers instead of jeers. Why are they supporting me? The realization hits. They don't know the goblin was summoned by him. A determined warrior steps forward, offering to handle the creature himself. The bewildered protagonist sweats under unexpected praise from the cheering masses below. Chalsu pleads desperately. He doesn't want the Everton Guild hurt. Let this woman go. The blonde girl calls his name in anguish as the antagonist declares it's all over for him. Defiance burns in Chalsu's voice as he proclaims himself a hero, risking everything to save an innocent woman. The shadowed figure's sinister laughter echoes ominously. On the rooftop, menace drips from his voice as he threatens the terrified girl. "You don't want to die in pain like your buddies, do you?" She clutches the small goblin, promising desperately not to tell anyone. His chilling agreement carries the weight of death. Then his anger explodes about the trouble she's brought to their village. The goblin's startled cry echoes as chains bind its movements. The determined man pulls tight, shouting his refusal to forgive. His summoning skill activates, restraining the creature as observers recognize the rare light manipulation ability. The goblin flails helplessly, its gold chain reflecting the binding magic's glow in the dungeon's shadows. "Stay back, it's dangerous." The focused warrior warns the crowd as he struggles to control the goblin. The blonde observer estimates its level exceeds 50, highlighting their dire situation. Onlookers realize the truth. It wasn't that the Everton Guild was weak, but that nobody else would stand a chance. He prepares his goblin feeding skill for the final confrontation. The green creature flees in panic toward the castle gates. "Now, close the town gates now." The desperate command rings out as massive iron barriers slam shut with thunderous impact. Hunters watch anxiously, wondering if the threat has finally passed. The young man wipes his stressed brow, calling out to check on everyone's safety. "Whoa!" The crowd erupts in celebration as he walks away triumphantly. He chased the goblin, but beneath the cheers lies darker truth. The other guild members have died and been transported back to the sacred grounds. Only he knows the relationship between the blonde girl and the goblin, a dangerous secret in the wrong hands. In the quaint town square, he explains the sacred grounds protection. Infinite HP shields players from monsters and other players alike. But his next words carry deadly weight. "Keep your promise, or face endless spawn camping and repeated death." Her terrified scream pierces the sunset as the true horror of his threat becomes clear. Kim Chalsus reflects in his luxurious room, pride mixing with regret. He recalls lacking power when it mattered most, unable to save someone important. A memory surfaces of an attractive woman, followed by realization about goblin points from that damned goblin lord. The irony isn't lost on him, called cunning for resembling goblins while accumulating their very essence. At the skill shop interface, most advanced abilities remain locked. Only one choice remains: rally. But what does it do? His activation triggers panic. Holy shit. The skill summons the goblin directly to his location. Both stare in bewildered horror. If people discover the creature here, they're completely screwed. Frustration boils over as he shouts at the goblin to stay down. The creature apologizes for earlier incidents while he reflects on their shared fate. "You're just like me, mocked and attacked for no reason." His cynical view of their world emerges, way too full of motherfuckers. The cozy room's warmth contrasts sharply with their harsh reality. The crowded tavern grows tense as the aggressive red-haired man confronts him. "So you're the bastard who saved an Everton Guild member." His nervous confirmation only heightens the tension. The blue-haired figure feels anxious without their goblin ally nearby, while the blonde warrior reassures them. Clearly, he's not looking for a fight. Kim Cholsus passionately argues that they're being manipulated. The goblin isn't present now. His frustration peaks as he explains helping those trying to kill him because he needs something crucial. The hooded figure acknowledges their debt. The Everton Guild doesn't let such things pass. They'll help however they can. In the dimly lit tavern, the bald man claims familiarity with their destination, but skepticism lingers. The red-haired warrior questions his strength after witnessing the goblin fight. Maybe he's even stronger than them. The young man denies his power while tension builds between the uncertain allies, doubt creeping into their fragile alliance. The beginner area Lev consists of 5 regular dungeons. Bright slime zones offer whimsical training grounds under clear skies, but darker challenges await in shadowy mine dungeons and forest zones. To leave Lev, one must clear a raid dungeon with its formidable boss. The concept sparks curious questions about these time-limited challenges. The devastating truth hits: Lev's raid dungeon opens only once per month. They gathered to clear it, but yesterday's goblin incident ruined everything on opening day. His shocked realization brings horror. "I'm stuck here for a month." The weight of missed opportunity crushes down as time becomes their enemy. "Don't mess with me, 1 month." Kim Cholsus's fury explodes as he demands alternatives. There must be another way. His precious time can't be wasted like this. The hooded figure confirms everyone's shared frustration with the delay. The blonde woman watches with concern as desperation drives his explosive emotions. In the tavern's dim light, he stands facing away from the determined blonde woman as she walks off. Outside, danger lurks. The mischievous goblin peers from behind wooden crates, chuckling sinisterly with gleaming eyes and twitching ears. Its malevolent gaze fixes on the tavern as stars pierce the serene night sky above. A swirling red portal erupts with brilliant light. Boss raid opened. The elderly man's shocked voice echoes from the digital screen. "Impossible. There should be 50 hours left." The hooded figure contemplates grimly while the young man stares in disbelief. The boss raid is already open. Reality defies all expectations. Chaos has consumed their world since Reaper fell, a calculated move by Kakao. The muscular leader's voice carries grim determination as he outlines their crisis. Manhwa sites face paywalls, declining reach, and ad revenue struggles. The younger man listens with clenched anxiety as their digital realm crumbles around corporate interference. "It's really open." Kim Cholsus's intense gaze burns with concern. "How many have entered?" The hooded figure delivers crushing news: not even one. Those prepared already cleared it yesterday and moved on. His growing anger reaches a boiling point. "I knew it." The bitter taste of deception fills his mouth. And the idiot for trusting others again. His rage explodes at the blonde woman who protests their innocence this time. The hooded warrior asks if he's coming along. They're raiding a single-room boss through that glowing red portal. Trust shattered, betrayal burns, yet the dangerous mission beckons ahead. The female archer nervously prepares for potential failure while the red-haired warrior shouts passionately. Without their guild master, the entire Everton Guild stands ready. "We'll take it down in 10 seconds. The cloaked figure smirks knowingly as strategic plans unfold. "Wait here until I call for you." he instructs the hidden goblin. Betrayal haunts his thoughts as he grips the advanced healing stone tightly. Someone might betray me again, just like last time. His guard stays raised, memories of past deception burning fresh. Whatever, for now. The dark environment reveals their boss target as tension builds before the inevitable confrontation. What the hell? This is a hidden dungeon. Panic erupts as they realize they're in the demolition man's quarters, not a regular raid. The older man curses in confusion while the blonde girl commands them to run to the portal. Kim Chialsu, the dark-haired boy, smirks sarcastically. Are they kidding right now? You're thinking of running when a hidden dungeon's right here. His voice cracks with urgency and greed. The hooded man confirms their terror. That thing's level 40. One hit could seriously injure not just characters, but them too. It's only a 10-level difference, but the gap feels insurmountable. At most, you'll just cough up blood and pass out. His sarcastic dismissal meets fierce resistance. You think good rewards come easy. The muscular warrior taunts them to run away with their tails between their legs, while the determined blonde claims she'll take all rewards for herself. Bravado masks their underlying terror. Come, Goblin! His desperate call pierces the night as the green creature materializes with confused surprise. Kiek. But massive danger charges toward them both. I said come on, damn it. From the distance, the red-haired observer recognizes the truth. That idiot fought the goblin yesterday. Realization dawns like thunder. Who cares what happens to someone like that? The cloaked figure's indifference chills the air. More importantly, the portal closed. Shock ripples through the group as they realize their oversight. Hidden dungeons operate differently than raid dungeons. The towering demolition man emerges with glowing menace, explosive energy crackling around his armored form. We have no choice but to fight. His declaration rings with desperate resolve before panic overwhelms him. GUA, I'm over level 30 and still got one-shotted. His character profile reveals the crushing truth, 26 unassigned stat points. *T. I haven't assigned any stat points yet. Will he miss this hidden dungeon's treasures? EVITON. The cloaked figure's command launches their monster hunt. His glowing red eyes pierce the darkness as the team mobilizes. What? Shock ripples through their ranks. The blonde archer confidently readies her wind arrow skill, energy bursting from her bow. Yoonhyuk the Dark and Minseong the Swift prepare for the devastating battle ahead. The wise strategist outlines their plan. The two fastest guild members will find the enemy's weak point. Add Jihyun's speed buff, and the enemy won't react before exposing vulnerability. KUHEH, the armored monster's chilling roar echoes through the ancient structure. No matter how tough, there's always one weak point. A 16-hit combo awaits. The silhouetted figure glows with red power lines across its muscular form. Same here, the cloaked warrior responds as panic grips their orange-haired ally. The devastating 32-hit slash combo searches for damaged areas, but KUHHHHHH. The monster's roar mocks their efforts. All damage registers 0. Even probing attacks shouldn't yield such impossible results. The purple attack zips through air with a sharp whoosh, but normal damage isn't registering. The dark-hooded figure realizes the terrible truth. Weak attacks don't work. He has the weakling scorn skill. The red-haired warrior shouts urgently to Yoonhyuk the Dark. You're the only one among us who can do it against this level 40+ enemy. No, the white-haired strategist firmly corrects their assumption. The one with the strongest one-shot isn't him. Depending on conditions, someone else can deal more damage than his peerless sword. Jihyun the Deadly. Her green hair flows as she prepares her devastating skill. I don't know what it is, but I'll buy YOU time. That idiot, the distressed character exclaims as chaos erupts. He's provoking the monster instead of running away. Patton the Exterminator brandishes his sword confidently. So this is a hidden dungeon boss. It's not as bad as expected, but warnings echo. Don't let your guard down. There's no room for even the slightest mistake. Despite being low-level and not even hidden class, why are these guys so strong? The anxious character sweats as he contemplates their overwhelming opponents. The silver-armored figure looms menacingly, while two cloaked warriors prepare their coordinated assault. Their assassin squad will lower defenses with passive skills while warriors provide distraction. The blonde archer draws her glowing green bow with determined precision. Below, the dark-haired character clutches his crystal in alarm. Damn it, these guys are really going to kill the boss. If he dies, no experience or rewards await. The massive armored figure towers above with fierce orange-red features while shock overwhelms their wild-haired observer. Your opponent is me. The monster's red eyes glare with aggressive fury. The tall figure in dark clothing expresses frustration, can't keep watching these lobies struggle anymore. His high skill level demands intervention. The advanced healing stone promises revival at 100 HP. The main character always shows up late, as ground shatter threatens devastation. HYUNSDOO, the killer aura has died. The notification cuts through the darkness like a blade. In the rocky environment, the boy with clenched fists demands answers. Why the hell would you revive now, you idiot? His anxiety reaches breaking point as frustration and disbelief consume him in this chaotic moment. The main character always shows up later. His confident grin narrates the predictable pattern. The advanced healing stone notification glows ominously as the demolition man targets his next victim. Ground shatter claims another life. Minsu the Crimsonite has died. Why the hell would you revive now, you idiot? Panic and anger collide amid the debris. How dare you hurt my comrades? The red-haired warrior's fury ignites as warrior skill GIGA/activates. Flames surround his massive sword as he swings with devastating force. Swish! But the elderly strategist realizes the danger. No good, if I drop my guard now. Blue energy crackles around his defensive preparations. My scheme. What did I? Sweat drips down his panicked face as two deaths weigh heavily on his conscience. This isn't MY fault. His defensive shout echoes desperately. I just revived, that's all. The bandaged figure crouches in attack position as tactical insights emerge. Monsters prioritize targets over sturdy tanks when underdeveloped players revive chaotically. The blonde archer trembles with uncertainty. What do we do, Yoonhyuk the Dark? Should I just fire now? Her HP display shows a critical 46% remaining. Get it together, Jihyun the Deadly. The muscular warrior urges patience. Shooting now would waste everything. The assassin's passive skill stacks haven't even maxed out yet. Desperation hangs heavy. 3 stacks hover above Demolition Man. Time is running out. The blue-haired assassin leaps forward, shouting he'll create the distraction they desperately need. But Jihyun the Deadly knows the truth. If this isn't her perfect shot, they'll never win. Her hands tremble as she channels every ounce of power. The black-haired summoner watches helplessly. What can he possibly contribute? The enemy taunts them mercilessly. Without your goblin, what are you? Jihyun's voice cuts through the chaos like ice. Don't do anything. Her blue eyes burn with determination. Right now, you're just getting in the way. The words hit harder than any physical blow. Chialsu staggers, confusion written across his face. Why are they looking at him like he's committed some crime? What's wrong with not having a goblin? His frustration explodes. This only happened because I had to leave it behind because of you. The accusation hangs in the purple-tinged air. Chialsu's rage reaches its peak. You're nothing without me, and yet you dare treat me like a fool. But his anger is drowned out by an earth-shaking roar. UOOOH. Demolition Man has chosen his target, Jihyun the Deadly. The blue-haired assassin observes with tactical precision. As expected, he's prioritizing ranged attackers like archers. The pattern is becoming clear, but will they survive long enough to exploit it? The cloaked fighter strikes without warning. Your opponent is me. His dagger gleams as he lunges with reckless abandon. The armored behemoth barely flinches, red accents blazing in the dim Gothic hall. This is how you draw aggro, the assassin shouts, displaying masterful evasion techniques. But the monster's patience wears thin. Not yet. It roars back, refusing to yield. Each clash echoes through the ancient corridors. Yoonhyuk the Dark bends impossibly low, balancing on one hand as death whistles past his skull. The damage numbers flash, 912. His smirk is pure venom, only after taking 3 full power hits. Did you finally decide I was a threat? Demolition Man's red eyes glow with newfound respect and fury. The assassin's vital sever stacks have reached their limit, but that last attack should have made up for the rest. Yoonhyuk's confidence cracks. Now all that's left is to buy time. But his mana reserves flash red, not enough MP for swift evasion. The monster's fury is tangible, rage radiating from every movement. These next 3 seconds are mine. Someone screams. Then agony. KGHUAHHH. A desperate cry pierces the air as another ally falls. Chiaosu watches in horror, realization dawning that their perfect plan is crumbling. Yoonhyuk lies broken on the ground. You, he whispers in disbelief. Chiaosu's fury explodes. You idiots, you talked like you'd win. What is this? Jihyun's shock mirrors his own. This all happened because you revived in the first place. The blame game begins, each accusation cutting deeper. Chiaosu retaliates with desperate logic. I could have killed him if I had 10 more seconds. But Jihyun's response chills them all. No way I'd let that happen. If I can't get the rewards, we're all going down together. The skull-faced monster roars, drowning out their petty arguments. Jihyun snaps back to reality. KGH, this isn't the time for us to be fighting each other. Her weapon isn't fully charged, but desperation forces her hand. It's not fully charged, but I have to shoot now. Chiaosu stares in bewilderment. What are you doing right now? Death approaches while they squabble like children. Chiaosu's sly grin returns as he asks about charging limitations. You can't move while charging, right? Jihyun's eyes widen in horror as he approaches. What are you doing? Don't come closer. The energy swirls between them, magic colliding in brilliant flashes. The blonde archer struggles against invisible bonds. The opponent is moving as fast as a renowned fighter. Fear and determination clash in the charged atmosphere. Chiaosu reveals his strategy with pride. I put all my stat points into agility. Even an assassin wouldn't invest only in agility. His confidence radiates through the ethereal chamber. I may not be an assassin, but I'm not losing in terms of movement speed. The blonde archer readies her shot, impatience burning through her stance. I'm ready. Then shoot already. But the difficulty of aiming while moving becomes painfully clear. Jihyun grips her weapon, energy crackling around her. Don't talk like it's over. I've got something to settle. Chiaosu's maniacal grin spreads wider, like the blood I coughed when I died earlier. His emotional state teeters on the edge, and the cost of that advanced healing stone times 100. The battlefield erupts. KUWAH. Gothic architecture crumbles as Jihyun prepares her ultimate attack, determination burning in her eyes. Finish it. Jihyun screams as blue energy swirls around her. Chiaosu braces for the inevitable. The skull-faced monster unleashes its hidden power. KUWAH. An explosion of debris and dust consumes everything. He was hiding a move like that. Chiaosu gasps in shock. An omnidirectional attack. Rocks scatter like deadly rain. The battlefield becomes a hellscape. But perhaps the monster has finally overextended itself. Chiaosu taunts through the chaos. Coughing blood won't be the end of it. Projectiles rain down like a deadly storm. There are too many projectiles. I can't land a hit like this. But then his expression changes. A memory flashes happier times with friends. The contrast is stark against the current nightmare. Wait, is he really going to fix this situation? I've got a great idea. His opponent proclaims ominously that his life is flashing before his eyes. A goblin materializes from nowhere. KSHSHSHI. Chiaosu's shock is complete. G-Goblin, you son of a bitch, why are you shouting just now? It's been like a week since I used summon. Jihyun strikes with electric fury, bewildered. What am I even seeing right now? The goblin tears through the very fabric of the dungeon's space. Is such a feat even possible? Goblin shield block. It declares, ready to defend against impossible odds. The monstrous figure towers above them, red eyes blazing with primal fury. Energy bursts around its massive form as it roars its defiance. A calm figure in dark attire observes with a confident smile. Hidden boss. Jihyun raises her energy-charged weapon. Now then, the atmosphere becomes electric with tension. This is the climax, the figure declares ominously. Deadly one-shot bow, full charge, everything hinges on this moment. The massive stone structure collapses with a tremendous splash. Water cascades everywhere. Jihyun's relief is palpable as a soft smile crosses her face. We won. The notification appears, hidden dungeon cleared. Level up flashes across their vision. Jihyun the Deadly, Archer, and Zhimcheolsuz, Goblin Summoner have grown stronger. Chialsu hunches over, exhausted but triumphant, feeling the effects of his newfound power coursing through him. The panicked character's sweat-drenched face screams desperation. Rewards. Give me the rewards. A shrouded figure with dark hair checks on everyone's safety. Is everyone safe? Meanwhile, a muscular warrior reflects grimly. I do feel some blood in my mouth. It's a relief it ended at that. If its level was higher, we would have been in real danger. But the bald elder's discovery changes everything. Seungryul is not breathing. Chialsu crouches in terror, his fear overwhelming. Don't come any closer. The blonde girl stares in confusion. Why the hell is he like that? The hooded figure maintains his calm. Care to explain what happened? You have leveled up appears, marking Chialsu's growth, but his trauma runs deeper than any stat increase. The reward. Someone demands urgently. Victory has come at a price none of them expected. Jihyun questions their achievement. Clearing the hidden dungeon wasn't enough. The dark-haired man explains the complexity. We can't advance unless we clear certain conditions within the hidden dungeon. As long as we fulfill the class advancement condition by gaining the Goblin Lord's favor. A green creature appears, clutching an item nervously. The revelation hits hard. This is. It just had to be now. The timing couldn't be worse. Jihyun stands confidently with her bow. W8. The two of us may have been the ones to finish it off, but everyone fought together. We have to distribute the reward after consulting everyone. Chialsu sweats nervously, alarm written across his features. A hooded figure mentions someone's strange behavior. He's been like that ever since. Another character asks with stern suspicion. Who is he? Gollum. The atmosphere thickens with unease and brewing conflict. The panicked character explodes with rage. Fuck you, I knew you'd do this. You betray me not once but twice. The powerful figure responds with cold confidence. Taking you out right now isn't even a problem for us. If we wanted to do it by force, WE would have done it already. I'm fine with you taking all those rewards. He clings to a bow, desperate for recognition. The power dynamic is brutally clear. Chialsu's cunning smile emerges as he makes his offer. Fine. I'll give you this weapon, but I want something in return. The hooded figure questions skeptically. The item is untradeable and priceless. Who's going to be the 1AT a loss if I claim this item, huh? Chialsu's mischievous nature surfaces fully. The elderly man realizes the struggle Chialsu endured just to sell this precious item. His transformation into a calculating merchant is complete. In the misty dungeon debris, Jihyun contemplates the weight of their burden. It's heavy. The dark-haired man converses with cloaked figures. Thanks for the trade, Everton. His observation cuts deep. I've had this thought for a while, but you really have a knack for being hated. As they discuss their plans outside the dungeon, mistrust permeates the air. Where will you be heading after getting out of here? Alliances shift like shadows. Jihyun radiates excitement as she grips her bow. Shall we head out? But a goblin suddenly intrudes. Kifeg. Chialsu reacts with dismissive annoyance. HMMPH. Goblin. The notification confirms their boss raid completion. It's a shame that I lost the unique bow, but it's not like I can use it anyway. The mystical cavern lighting reflects their mixed emotions, victory tinged with regret and the promise of adventures ahead. The panicked character reveals his true prize, a crystal-like component. But the real jackpot is this. His triumph is complete. I was a mining-only player until just a while ago. Those idiots were so focused on the unique weapon, they didn't realize the true value of this thing. Chiaosu grins wildly, holding 3 weapons. You're the ones who betrayed me first, all right. The city of Fiorindel spreads before them as onlookers gasp. Whoa, high-level players pass by in magnificent armor. The character's desperation reaches new heights. I can smell the money. His disheveled appearance reflects his inner turmoil. Chiaosu maintains his confident demeanor despite his debt. But before anything, even though repaying my debt is a good idea, I have to change my equipment first. I've been wearing this armor since I was level 3. His frustration boils over. It's shocking that I died in one hit against a monster 9 levels lower than me. Kiek, Kieg, echoes ominously. A massive white wolf towers over the startled young man. A monster. Fuck, Goblin protected me. The silver-haired woman observes with calm intrigue. I've never seen anyone have a goblin as their summon before. Realization dawns on him. There's a person riding it. Does that mean this monster's a summon too? The contrast is stark, from dungeon darkness to open sky, from terror to curious wonder. Chiaosu senses the overwhelming power radiating from the elf. This person is very strong. I don't have to fight her to know that. Blue light shrouds her mysterious presence. The elf addresses them with playful authority. Cute child, would you do me the honor of telling me your name? I heard you call him Goblin before. Do you not have a name for him yet? Her question hangs in the air like a gentle challenge. The fierce white wolf stands protectively beside its master. The silver-haired elf smirks mockingly. Fufu, one-sided relationships are bound to be unstable, you know. Take a look at your summon. Her advice cuts deeper than intended. I hope you won't be such a dull man when we meet again next time. Chiaosu brushes off her words. Oh yeah, thanks for your advice. But her observation about his command after hearing the command, protect me, lingers ominously. Chiaosu purchases the steel chestplate with desperate determination. That's why I came here to purchase better ones. The muscular shopkeeper critiques him harshly. This might be too much for a trash like you. 350 gold, about $40 in real currency. Even if I have a max-level summon, it'll be all over if I, the summoner, die. The shopkeeper acknowledges grudgingly. At least you have an eye for equipment. The heavy armor weighs him down like a prison. Ooh, damn it. I invested all my points into agility because I had to go against the steel giant. I have to sell it back. The shopkeeper's offer is insulting. Only 30 gold for what he just bought for 350. What the fuck? You just sold this thing for 350. Oh, now I'm getting scammed by an NPC. The injustice burns through him. The muscular blacksmith frantically searches. I can't find it. His desperation is palpable as he hunts for his missing hammer. It's not here. And why hammer is missing? Chiaosu observes with confusion. By the way, what's that exclamation mark above your head? What the F** is he doing now? A quest prompt appears, directing them to find the missing hammer. The game mechanics intrude on reality in the most mundane way possible. Understanding dawns on Chiaosu's face. Oh, so it was for a quest. The pieces fall into place. Wait, so that's why those materials are so expensive. Is that why the material items from the hidden boss were so pricey? The underground waterway connection becomes clear. His serious expression transforms into a confident smirk. The underground waterway, you said. Quest acceptance flashes across his determined features. The challenge awaits. Chiaosu stands with renewed confidence beside his goblin companion. I don't have to worry about anyone else either. I'll clear such an easy dungeon in less than 30 minutes. His arrogance explodes as he yells at the shopkeeper. What are you standing there for, you idiot? Go get my hammer now. The bewildered shopkeeper responds. Why the fuck are you following me? The dynamic has completely reversed. The summoner has become the master of his own destiny. The steel armor traps him again, but duty calls. If he dies, the quest fails. The athletic character loses patience. Why are you just standing there staring? Hurry up and move. Chiaosu's strategy shifts. No need to keep pace with him. His confidence about skipping minor enemies shows through the metal prison. Go. The urgency builds as they prepare to dive deeper into the quest ahead, despite the cumbersome burden. A notification alerts them. NPC Humphrey the Foul-Mouthed is under attack. Chiaosu processes this shock. Humphrey bellows with comedic bravado. You dare challenge me, Humphrey the Great. His muscular frame showcases pure determination. No, you dumb NPC, stop fighting and stay back. Chiaosu shouts desperately. Then the Goblin charges forward, green skin gleaming. Goblin. The dynamic shifts from strategy to pure chaos in an instant. The mischievous Goblin grins while harvesting materials. K-E-S-H-A-S-H-A-S-H-I. Humphrey declares his superiority with fierce pride. As expected, you're no match for the mighty Humphrey, but something lurks in the shadows. You over there, a presence. Chiaosu weighs his options carefully. Should he intervene directly or rely on the Goblin's protection? The underground setting amplifies every sound, every threat that might be watching from the darkness. Chiaosu announces his tactical shift. Goblin, we're changing strategy. From now on, wipe out every trash mob along the way. The Goblin responds with pure enthusiasm. K-I-E-E-K. Humphrey prepares for battle with his massive hammer, rage burning over his stolen belongings. I'll wipe them all out. Energy crackles around Chiaosu. Take my ultimate technique. It's been a while since I've gone all out. The dungeon trembles with anticipation. Chiaosu feels the sting of being ignored. These bastards, are they seriously ignoring me? Humphrey reveals his deeper nature. No, they're not ignoring me before I'm a blacksmith. I was a proud warrior. His declaration echoes through the crypt. You bull-headed bastard. Ancient spirits respond to his call. A crowned skeleton awakens with a chilling scream. Q-ah! The supernatural elements have been disturbed. Humphrey savors the unfolding chaos with his back turned. Now this is finally getting interesting. Chiaosu gestures frantically. So what you're saying is that skill just now woke up monsters that wouldn't have attacked if we just walked past. The Green Goblin readies a small rock, wild expression blazing. I am very pissed off right now. This better be your last trolling stunt, right? K-I-E-K. Chaos breeds more chaos. 3 hours later, the tension reaches breaking point. The burly man screams in alarm. Dodge it, it's a trap. His fear and anger are equally potent. This insane bastard. He just stopped trolling. Humphrey looks around in confusion. I'm still Humphrey, What was that sound? The Goblin grins mischievously in the background. The stone dungeon's eerie light illuminates their mounting frustration. Every step forward brings new dangers. 3 arrows shoot past Chiaosu's head. UUWH. Both he and his Goblin companion cry out in shock. That startled me. Why did a trap suddenly activate? I didn't even do anything. Humphrey grimaces in pain as poison courses through him. Guh, you cowards. Chiaosu's realization is bitter. That garbage ditched me to save himself. The notification confirms the worst. Humphrey the Foul-Mouthed has been afflicted with poison. The HP indicator plummets rapidly. 180-140-160-20. Humphrey the Foul-Mouthed has died. The man in the vest explodes with fury. You crazy F***ing blacksmith. You're already dead, but I'll kill you again. His rage echoes through the chaos. I'm gonna kill him. The scene shifts to a bustling marketplace. A man with slick-back hair and glasses observes from the shadows. Finally found you. ZKIMCHEOLSU. Chiaosu shouts desperately at the revived Humphrey. Humphrey, that gear you're wearing. But Humphrey's casual response infuriates him. WHAAH. That's all you have to say. Huh, is that your final will? The quest completion notification appears. The hammer has dropped. A muscular man confronts Chiaosu about the delay. Thanks for finding him. Why hammer? The outdoor setting with tents suggests recent monster battles. The tension never ends. Sparks fly as the burly blacksmith works his craft. Watch closely. His expertise shines as he forges high-purity steel. A fine piece of cast has been forged. Now this is what they mean by PARLS before swine. Quality depends on effort, he lectures. You didn't sweat at all. That's why the quality's low. And why first rare armor? The onlookers marvel at materials rarer than even hidden dungeon drops. The forge's intensity illuminates their awestruck faces. WHAWAA. Chiaosu reacts to a surprise attack, sword raised defensively. The masked figure in tactical gear admits grudgingly, "You dodged my sneak attack." An authoritative voice demands answers. "What, PK? I see, so you really are strong enough to leave the young lady half dead." The confrontation escalates beyond a simple player versus player fight. This isn't just about the game anymore. Someone's life hangs in the balance. Recognition dawns on Chiaosu's shocked face. Catherine, that mage from the mine dungeon. The striking woman appears with flowing blonde hair and a confident stance. Her sly expression suggests she's been waiting for this moment. Wait a SEC, if it's CATHERINE. The burly figure with the horned helmet looms nearby. The desolate battlefield setting implies this confrontation has been building for some time. Past betrayals are about to surface. The dark-haired man confronts Humphrey's claims. "You, a victim." His agitation is visible as he gestures emphatically. "While you're here alive and well, the young lady's been in a vegetative state and hasn't woken up, and you're calling yourself the victim." The horror hits Chiaosu. "She became a vegetable, but she ended up in a coma because of me." "No, GGIGR. It's GAIGER's fault. I didn't do anything wrong." Guilt and denial war within him. The man in the black suit points his sword with accusatory precision. "It's not for you to decide whether you're at fault, because of what happened to her." The bespectacled character struggles with comprehension. "You idiot. No damage." A sinister figure emerges with a horrifying grin, revealing the stakes. "All right, why don't we start the story from the beginning?" The chairman's daughter from the Semyoung group is involved. Everything has consequences. The scene shifts to reveal the true scope of the crisis. Semyoung Group, cars, phones, semiconductors. A company famous worldwide. In a sterile hospital room, Chiaosu sits on the bed, shock and worry etched across his face. The well-dressed man explains with grave intensity. "The daughter of such a conglomerate's chairman collapsed while playing in a party with me and is now lying in a hospital bed." The weight of corporate power and personal responsibility crashes down. The truth cuts like a blade. A level 80 monster, attacking someone barely level 40. The man in the tuxedo pieces together the nightmare. His skepticism deepens as he stares at the unconscious Catherine medical mask covering her pale face. How does a level 3 nobody escape what nearly killed her? The trauma of total incapacitation, that's what broke her mind. Humphrey's nervous laughter echoes through the office. A hidden class at level 3? Impossible. The suited man's fury boils over. Countless doctors have failed where this amateur claims success. If it were me, I'd be dead by now. Humphrey sweats, realizing his predicament. Does that mean there's barely a chance she'll recover? The question hangs like a death sentence. 3 shadowy surgeons deliver the verdict. Even the best doctors gave the same answer. "We don't know why she won't wake up." The young man's desperation grows. Are they supposed to just sit around and wait? But the man in glasses raises a finger to his temple, a dangerous idea forming. If the injury occurred in the game, perhaps healing her there is the only solution. Chiaosu grasps for hope, fabricating a miraculous recovery story from America. 1 in 9.9 million odds. His voice betrays his own disbelief. The lie tastes bitter on his tongue as he realizes the truth. "I'm lying to these desperate people right now. But what else can he offer a father watching his daughter waste away?" The betrayal runs deep. She lied to him too. But instead of inaction, shouldn't they try grabbing at straws? The white-haired woman stands in sunlight, a vision of what they're fighting to save. Then comes the shocking revelation. The chairman actually gave permission. They're letting her log in while unconscious. These people must really be desperate. The stakes couldn't be higher. If they discover his lie to the Semyoung group, he'll disappear without a trace. But perhaps, at least he'll be remembered as someone who tried to save the heir everyone had given up on. Against the cracked, desolate ground, the weight of that massive corporation looms over everything. Genius strikes like lightning. The armored boy grins wickedly. He's figured out how to drag someone who can't walk. The system will handle the physics, but the execution, that's pure brilliance. The silver-haired woman watches his manic excitement as he prepares to implement his twisted solution. The plan backfires spectacularly. A goblin dragging a helpless female player through the streets, the crowd's disgust is palpable. He's the absolute worst, they whisper. I hope he dies. Chiaosu realizes his mistake too late. This is bad. I'm completely cornered. His reputation crumbles with every horrified stare. An unexpected savior appears. The elderly man with the white mustache shouts urgently, "This way." No time for explanations as they flee through stone alleys. Didn't expect to run into you again, the younger man reflects warily. But why would the Everton Guild member help him? The shadow of betrayal lingers in every word. The bald scout's frustration shows. Their guild rarely gathers, only for raids. The cheeky dragon creature mocks his preparation while they navigate the narrow alleyway. Information about the unfamiliar Piordal region is scarce, and discretion is paramount. Every step deeper into unknown territory raises the stakes. Money drives obsession. The dark-haired man sweats as he explains his dungeon fixation. Harder dungeons mean bigger rewards, but he conceals the truth about exploiting bugs for profit. The older man's stern warning echoes through the dungeon walls. There's an order to everything in the Piorandal region. Rush too fast and death awaits. Revelation strikes. Phoenix El Basar, the royal city where main quests unlock high-level areas. That's right, the main quest. Chiaosu's eyes blaze with newfound purpose. The older man slaps his forehead in frustration. Why didn't he think of that obvious solution? All right, let's go, Goblin. The path forward finally becomes clear. Chase erupts through sunlit alleys. The goblin grins wickedly, dagger gleaming as the armored figure pursues. Where the girl go, you bastard. But danger multiplies, thugs in white corner them, eyeing Catherine's expensive gear with predatory hunger. Maybe she just logged in with good stuff and went to the bathroom, they speculate. Her unconscious state makes her the perfect target. The trap snaps shut. Thugs surround the unconscious Catherine while the bald man desperately shifts blame. Let's call the guards to protect this woman. But panic floods his thoughts. I'm screwed. The man in the white suit warns of deadly consequences. If she takes damage while unconscious, she could die in reality. Negotiations turn hostile in the bright floral field. Send the money first, we're in the middle of something. But his panting betrays desperate fear. The white-haired knight remains eerily calm. Let it go, what's the worst that could happen? The whisper chat ends abruptly as Han Gimun, chairman of Semyung Group, looms over this deadly game. Under open skies, philosophical questions cut deep. Why entrust someone unworthy with the young lady? The silver-haired royal figure questions their choice while the dark-haired man counters grimly. There's no hope for treatment anyway. If Catherine doesn't make it, what's the difference between a slow death and this gamble? Breathless and frustrated, he questions the game's brutal realism. How am I supposed to find her in this stupidly huge town? But wait, a locked skill just unlocked. Somehow he earned a goblin point without doing anything wrong. The skill shop reveals HP sharing abilities, though their usefulness remains questionable. Time for desperate measures. Squall activates his goblin summoner skill. The green creature's eyes widen in shock, throw the goblin. But this might actually be useful. Wind whips as he prepares the goblin throwing technique, transforming from apprehension to grim determination. Sometimes the most ridiculous solutions are the most effective. The goblin soars through bright skies, screeching its battle cry, Ki-yeek, eyes scanning for targets below. The armored figure grins with sinister anticipation, calling out Catherine's name like a predator stalking prey. Heh, Catherine, I came to pick you up. His manic expression promises violence as blonde figures watch from the shadows. Rage explodes in the shadowy alley. The older man confronts the antagonists. She's in danger because of you idiots. But the thugs mock him cruelly. We're the ones who'll make this lady feel good, ugly bastard. Their smugness only fuels his fury. For an ugly punk, you sure talk a lot. Violence hangs in the air like a loaded weapon. Victory tastes sweet. The goblin celebrates wildly as defeated foes lie broken in the alley. Bewahaha. How does it feel to lose to an ugly guy? The maniacal laughter echoes off stone walls while guards hear strange sounds. But triumph turns to terror, I'm fucked, as the reality of their situation sinks in. Squall's maniacal laughter fills the alley as guards investigate the commotion. What's that noise? But accusation strikes like lightning. You murdered 2 people and kidnapped a woman. The guard's spear gleams with deadly intent. Damn you. Did you think you could escape such heinous crimes? Squall tries desperately to explain. It's a misunderstanding, they attacked me first. The goblin grins with malicious intent, whispering plans to eliminate the guard NPC. Thankfully, there's only one of them. I'll just eliminate him before anyone else comes. But the bald man warns of prison consequences while the dark-haired figure questions his presence. Getting arrested means wasted time, and time is something they can't afford. Gold changes everything. The bald man offers a massive bribe to the nervous guard. You're giving me this much. But honest men can't be bought. How dare you try to bribe me? The relationship status drops as crime is attempted. Meanwhile, the dark-haired protagonist realizes someone got arrested in his stead, the grand castle gleaming mockingly in the distance. Frustration boils over at the palace gates. Why can't I go in? The wooden doors remain sealed against his efforts. A yellow-robed figure lounges smugly. No means no. Don't waste your effort, another warns. That door won't budge for some time, but curiosity sparks in the blond man's eyes. Who are you? A quest opportunity presents itself. The blond scout reads him like a book new to the city, causing a fuss at the door. His sly smile promises adventure. Why don't you help me out? Those eyes have the look of an adventurer. A lost ruin awaits, but proving worth comes first. The armored man's frustration turns to intrigue as opportunity knocks. The fiery pit glows ominously as he confronts the NPC's deception. You should have told me this was that type of dungeon, damn NPC. Lost ruin. Are you sure the name isn't Lost Lives? He doesn't like Catherine, but protecting her is non-negotiable. Goblin, I'll go first and call with the rally. Keep hold of that leash. The abyss awaits below. Chaos erupts. The hooded figure screams in panic while he shouts his command. Now Goblin. The rally skill activates as green creatures burst into action, screeching their battle cries. Keek. Multiple goblins respond to his call, their mischievous grins promising mayhem. Oh wow, even he's impressed by their enthusiastic response. Horror dawns too late. This rally skill only works on the goblin, you fucking idiot. The rope snaps taut in the creature's desperate grip as Catherine plummets toward molten death. No, she's falling in. The grand palace echoes with panicked screams as his plan crumbles into catastrophe. The very skill meant to save her seals her doom. Desperation reaches breaking point. Do something, Goblin. The creature screeches helplessly as chaos swirls around them. The armored man clutches his head, overwhelmed by the cacophony. Wake up. You can't die in a place like this or I'm fucked. His voice cracks with raw terror as the silver-haired woman drifts through the destruction, urging composure. Memory bleeds through like poison. The white-haired man towers over young Catherine, cane in hand, authority absolute. You came home late with friends, those worthless nobodies who will be forgotten. His voice drips with disgust at her shortened skirt and makeup. What will people think when they discover I have a daughter like this? Each word cuts deeper than the last. Terror consumes her voice. I'm really sorry, Mom, help. Her tears flow like rivers as she begs for salvation. "Mom, Dad's trying to kill me. Please stop him." But silence answers her pleas. "Mom." The older man's declaration cuts like a blade through her heart. "You are my only flaw, Catherine. A daughter reduced to nothing but disappointment." Panic meets absurdity in the flickering torchlight. "What do we do, Goblin?" The creature suggests mouth-to-mouth resuscitation with Catherine, a chance he'll never get again. But performing CPR in a game, the mental shock might wake her up. "I'm performing CPR." He rationalizes desperately as notifications flash, humor bleeding through desperation. The butler reveals himself with calm authority. "I'm monitoring her vitals in real time through the medical team. Her gear is the best available for her level. She's safe. For now." Chialsu's shock is palpable as he processes this revelation. The corporate machinery extends even into the game world, watching every breath she takes. Corporate paranoia runs deep. The white-haired man ensures not even a strand of filthy hair touches Catherine while she's unconscious. "Show me how she's doing now." But disconnection notifications flash ominously. Meanwhile, they run full speed to the boss room as the green creature cackles maniacally. Dodge the rolling sphere. Death approaches from every angle. Water cascades like destiny as they race across the broken bridge. The boy pulls Catherine's unconscious form behind him, her red outfit stark against gray stone. "Cross the broken bridge. Kill the golem." Commands echo through ancient halls as the massive rock creature looms ahead, arms raised in challenge. No retreat remains, only victory or death. Terror strikes as the stone behemoth attacks. "Oh shit." The goblin encourages desperately, "Finish him in one hit." But guilt crashes over him. "I got too excited and tossed her as a projectile." A goblin point notification appears mockingly as the massive fist descends. His reckless actions endangered the very person he swore to protect. Explosive energy erupts across the battlefield. The monster screams as it vaults through chaos while a warrior swings with fierce determination. "I'm not even phased," he declares calmly amid the destruction. "Now I just need to bring back the core of the golem." Victory seems within reach, but golem battles are never simple. The creature's roar shakes ancient stone. "What the fuck? Why did it get bigger?" Fear replaces confidence as the golem towers impossibly higher. "Whatever, just destroy it." The goblin screeches in terror while shadows lengthen ominously. "Good. Now we've finally," but his words trail off as the true magnitude of their enemy becomes clear. Purple energy crackles as the golem cheats death itself. "Hey, stop cheating, you fucker." Frustration boils over as the creature grows stronger with each destruction. "Don't destroy it. Just block its attack. Every time you destroy it, it gets stronger." The goblin frantically tries to explain the horrifying truth: they're making it worse. Explosions rock the battlefield as the stone giant retaliates. "Shit. Until I destroy its core, will it keep reviving?" The older man's wisdom cuts through chaos. The core is its weakness. But finding that vulnerable point while dodging devastating attacks, that's the real challenge they face. Time runs short as power builds. Desperation clouds judgment as he admits defeat. "I don't have a way to find its weak point like the Everton Guild." Should he destroy every part? What if the golem reaches the several hundreds in level? What if it becomes stronger than even the goblin? His anxiety spirals as the pale girl watches with eerie calm. Shadows loom impossibly large as the white-haired girl stares in dawning comprehension. A brown creature recoils against swirling purple energy, struck by unseen forces. Her expression shifts from shock to realization, eyes widening with a mixture of fear and excitement. Something significant stirs within her consciousness as she raises a device. Explosive screams tear through reality. GHH. The scene fractures momentarily before returning to focus on the gray-haired girl. Her confusion meets another character's blood-stained rage, hands crimson with violence. The digital world bleeds into something far more visceral and terrifying than any game should allow. Chaos incarnate. The green creature struggles in his mouth as he screams Catherine's name through clenched teeth. It's going to be okay, he tells himself desperately. The damage shouldn't be fatal to her. But his terror betrays his words. Explosions rage around the stone giant as he contemplates the unthinkable. What if she dies? Fire and confusion consume everything. What is this? He stares in shock as the white-haired magician materializes in her red outfit, fully conscious and furious. She's awake. What the hell? Why am I here? Who are you? Her desperate questions echo through the chaos as she demands explanations for her impossible situation. Anger explodes between them. I almost died, you idiot. His wide eyes reflect shock and rage while she stands defensively in the flames. No matter what I did, she's okay now, right? He smugly envisions reward. Saving the heir of the Hemmeling group means massive payment. But her fury only intensifies. Wanna die? Didn't I ask for an explanation? Violence erupts without warning. Up, she calls before her fist connects with devastating impact. Whoa, hey, he screams in disbelief as debris flies. What the hell was that? Why didn't you tell me a punch was coming? The explosive confrontation leaves him stunned and smoking in the chaotic aftermath of her awakening fury. Betrayal cuts deepest of all. He just ran off to save himself. What a scumbag. Meanwhile, terror consumes another voice. I'm scared. So scared. Dad knows Heaven's pool. He might kill me. In reality, medical staff react with shock. She woke up. Yes, she regained consciousness, but uncertainty lingers in every word. Something has gone horribly wrong inside the game. Catherine is extremely frightened as she lies connected to medical equipment, her white hair spread across the pillow. The sinister figure grins knowingly. Kim Chulsu, that bastard. Is it possible for her to log out right now? If they just cut the power. But disconnecting could be dangerous. The nightmare has only just begun. The dark-haired warrior's mind races with desperate calculations. If Kim Chulsu is truly trapped in that nightmare, there's only one way to confirm the truth. I'll go in and confirm myself. But as he steals his resolve, the ruined golem unleashes its devastating rock missile attack. Fiery projectiles scream through the air. In the narrow corridor ahead, the white-haired figure sprints for his life, then turns, his eyes wide with terror as death approaches. K.I.E. The goblin's scream pierces the chaos as rocks fly like deadly rain. The white-haired girl sits frozen in panic, her magical staff trembling in her grip. Are you okay? The dark-armored warrior barks his frustration. What are you doing? You can't outrun that thing at your speed. But terror has consumed her completely. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. Meanwhile, the goblin grins with wicked delight, shouting Goblin, as if reveling in the destruction. In the dim underground passage, desperation hangs thick in the air. The white-haired girl pleads with wide, terrified eyes, help me. You have to help me. The dark-haired man above her wrestles with a brutal choice. His face hardens with cold practicality. I'll just knock her out. She's just a burden like this. But her vulnerability cuts through his cynicism. What are you saying? The weight of her trust breaks down his walls. That's not what I mean. Her scream echoes with pure desperation. From Dad, Mom, my whole family, help me get away. The white-haired girl's anguish spills out like blood from a wound. I don't want to get hit anymore. Each word carries the weight of countless beatings, countless nights of terror. The dark-haired boy stares in stunned silence, processing her hell. But from the shadows, a winged figure's voice cuts like a blade. Kim Chulsu, you bastard, I've had enough. Stop, Goblin. The green-skinned creature demands answers as suspicion crackles between them. The dark-haired warrior grows defensive. What, you think I'm going to eat her? How am I supposed to work with you doubting me like this? He gestures toward the unconscious white-haired girl, her red eyes closed in disturbing peace. Here she'll smile for you, see. But through his phone screen, a suited man observes with growing alarm. She doesn't even look conscious. The man with slick black hair and glasses adjusts his formal blue outfit as reality crashes down. So her reaction just now was because of a seizure. His clinical assessment cuts through the chaos. She's not doing great, so if you're in a dungeon, get out of there. But the spiky-haired youth explodes in protest. What? You can't just suddenly do that. Right now is a crucial. Sorry, but I can't let you just end this unilaterally, mister. The stakes are too high to abandon now. You fucker. The white-haired girl's rage explodes as she raises her hands in fury. The dark-haired boy in his tactical vest cuts straight to the truth. That was a lie. I'll just be frank. You better keep your word about the money. His cold pragmatism shocks her. I need a lot of money. If you don't pay me, I'll just tell them you woke up and demand a reward from the Senaming group. Desperate, she offers everything, you can have it. Finally, he shouts Goblin. Time to work. Kie. The green creature's alarm echoes through the cavern as the four-armed stone behemoth looms before them. Wow, it's got 4 arms. The dark-armored boy's shock is palpable. You were supposed to stall it while I talked. Panic seizes him as he realizes the creature's devastating power. Level 2, damn it. It's a one-hit kill if that thing hits me. Then, silence. What? It stopped moving. Hope flickers as the white-haired girl readies her ice magic, determination blazing in her eyes. Why are you just standing there? The pale-haired girl's voice cracks with urgency as she stares at the motionless boy. You want to fight a level 2 monster. Terror drives her words as she screams, "RUUN. It'll break free soon." The explosion that follows sends them both staggering. Whoa! They sprint down the debris-filled corridor, gasping for breath. The boy points ahead desperately. There. The large door marks their only escape from this nightmare. Huh? The silver-haired girl in brown and red stops short, confusion flickering across her features as destruction reigns around them. The spiky-armored boy beside her mirrors her shock. Huh? Sweat beads on his forehead as the chaos unfolds. Then terror strikes. No. Wait. She raises her hands in desperate defense, her voice breaking into a final plea, please. The crumbling world around them offers no mercy. Please help me. The white-haired girl's cry tears through the darkness, her hands raised in desperate supplication. Behind her, a floating red heart pulses ominously. Below, the dark-haired boy watches with dawning realization. This time it's different. His past failure haunts him. I ran away last time because I was weak. Since she fainted from a level 80 monster, she'll obviously die from a level 10 monster. Determination hardens his features. But now I have to save her. The white-haired girl with red-tinted eyes stands defiant yet broken in the dark cavern. You want me to save you? I can't. But the voice responds with crushing finality. No matter how loud, Catherine, you won't turn back. The shadows whisper their verdict. In the end, you're just like the rest. Her spirit shatters as she screams her truth. No one ever saves me. The cavern trembles as her anguish explodes outward. Krak. Debris and energy tear through the darkness. Yo, the golden-haired warrior leaps through the falling rocks with absolute confidence, his loose yellow outfit flowing dramatically. The dark-haired boy stares in disbelief. That guy is. Recognition dawns as the newcomer lands gracefully. You did great holding on. His grin radiates unwavering self-assurance. Now it's my turn to take care of the rest. The debris-strewn battlefield suddenly feels less hopeless with his arrival. Why the hell is he here? The character's shock explodes as disbelief consumes him. His mind races frantically. Damn it, why didn't I realize it sooner? The golden-haired figure moves with fluid grace, evading the deadly debris with supernatural ease. Chaos swirls around them as rocks rain down like judgment. The revelation hits like a thunderbolt. This changes everything. The battlefield has become something far more dangerous than anyone imagined. The NPC god's golden hair gleams as he declares with theatrical flair, "I'll take over from now on." But beneath his confident smile lies a sinister truth. The moment the player gets defeated, the NPC god will appear as if that was supposed to happen. His voice carries the weight of inevitability. This quest was a forced defeat quest from the start. The cracked red heart in the ground symbolizes their hopeless situation. Sometimes there are quests like that. The red glowing core pulses within the cracked stone as the truth emerges. The golem's core probably never existed in the first place. If you fight the enemy without knowing anything, you will only lose. The dark-haired figure explains the cruel system. After all, there's no better way to showcase the NPC's strength within the story. Meanwhile, the golden-haired man in his yellow robe seethes with anger over his subordinate's treatment. his sword gleaming with barely contained fury. Brace yourself for what's coming. The golden-haired warrior launches forward with explosive force. Kopung Enus. His strike creates a shockwave of motion and sound. The dark-haired observer watches in stunned silence. Meanwhile, the cloaked figure dismisses the effort with arrogant confidence. Humph, that's not even worth a warm-up. But doubt creeps in. Why's this guy talking like he's got this in the bag? The massive rock creature retaliates with devastating force. Quang, the armored golem's attack erupts with devastating force, sending debris flying. The dark-haired warrior's panic is immediate. F-fuck, hey, you're level 70. His discovery of the enemy's true power sends shockwaves through his confidence. The NPC god in his yellow coat reflects grimly. The players who usually receive this quest are around levels 30 to 40. The ruins golem started at level 40, making their situation impossibly dire. The cruel mechanics unfold with surgical precision. They'd lose to the golem at level 45. Even if they managed to win again, it would come back at level 50, so they'll get defeated then for sure. The NPC god's expression shows concern mixed with calculation. That's when the high-level NPC appears and easily finishes it off for good. The green-skinned creature grins with wicked satisfaction. Kishishish. The system's rigged nature becomes crystal clear as the dark figure mutters in frustration. The young man with messy brown hair pieces together the puzzle in his bright yellow garment, so it can be said that when the NPC god appeared, the golem's core also materialized. His theory excites and terrifies him simultaneously. If I were to guess, it should be. Energy courses through him as he launches forward. HMPH, this wasn't even. But before he can finish his boast, an explosion engulfs the cavern, scattering debris and magical energy in all directions. Worth a warm-up. The golden-haired character moves with supernatural grace, dodging debris with casual confidence. The goblin points frantically over there, in the direction the NPC is targeting. After unleashing his power, dust and stones erupt in a massive explosion. The warrior dismisses his own devastating attack. Humph, this wasn't even worth a warm-up. If it weren't for me, you'd all be dead. The dark-haired observer asks tentatively, is it over? Hope mingles with uncertainty. An ornate hand suggests someone of great importance as the dust settles. The pale-haired woman in her form-fitting red and gray outfit sits among the debris, asking desperately, are we really safe? Behind her, the brutish warrior and the tall man in gold and black watch carefully. The elegant figure confesses his embarrassment. Damn it, I'm going to die from the awkwardness. But his assessment proves accurate. Looks like I judged you right. Just surviving that place is enough to prove how much strength you possess. The distressed character wails his humiliation. Now I look even worse than that woman who betrayed me. Tears well in his eyes as his dignity crumbles. The confident Vice Captain Alphonse explains his royal connections while warning against questions. I've got my own circumstances. The mood shifts as one character admits surprise. I never expected this yapper to say something helpful. The yellow-cloaked figure departs with casual arrogance. Well then, see you around. Comedy emerges from chaos. All right. The young man in black armor sweats profusely, his anxiety evident as he shouts his apology. That earlier thing was my bad. Beside him, the elegant white-haired woman in her dark brown outfit responds with a knowing smirk. So you finally woke up, huh, Catherine? His confusion deepens as he notices a menacing presence lurking nearby. Who is he? A shadowy masculine figure with a gloved hand emerges, transforming their moment of reconciliation into something far more threatening. The armored character analyzes their opponent with growing dread. He has gear I've never seen before, and that aura, he's on another level. Is he just a rich person, or an incredibly skilled individual? The white-haired girl's eyes widen in shock as recognition hits her like lightning. Father. Her voice trembles with disbelief. No, he's someone you can't defy. The mature man with silver hair and red eyes confirms her worst fears with quiet confidence. A king. The pale-haired woman expresses her concern as the older man in ornate armor reveals his connection to Catherine. I've been worrying day and night, you know. His fatherly disappointment shows, "I hoped you'd get better when you became an adult. But you're still playing these mischievous pranks." He thanks the dark-haired young man graciously for his care. "Thank you for taking care of my dear Catherine, young man." But beneath the polite surface, something darker stirs. "Shall we go, Catherine?" The character in the blue cape walks away as the dark-haired youth's desperation explodes. "Why won't you say it again, ask for help and beg to be saved?" His voice cracks with emotion. "Fine, it's my fault for running away. I know I'm not trustworthy, but maybe, just maybe this time, self-doubt wars with desperate hope. I could actually save you." The white-haired man and young girl watch with stern expressions as his plea hangs in the air. "Even someone like me knows who you are." The young man in armor seeks validation from Catherine as he describes Han Ki-moon. President Han Ki-moon of Senaming Group is known to be kind, compassionate, gentlemanly, and admirable. "Isn't that right, Catherine?" But doubt creeps into his voice. Is that man really the person I know? The contradiction becomes clear as he studies her expression. "Then why does your face look like you're about to die when such a great person came to fetch you? I can't let you leave like this." The weathered man in golden armor grips Catherine's arm with determination. The silver-armored youth explodes with urgency. "What are you dawdling for? Come on, Catherine." But his companion questions everything save her. How? With what right? The cracked street mirrors his fractured confidence as he confronts his own limitations. The weight of his cowardice crushes down as he realizes the impossibility of his heroic dreams. The man in the blue cape reflects on his crushing limitations. "And I don't even expect to be saved myself. What was I thinking, trying to be someone's hero?" Around them, excitement builds as the crowd recognizes Han Ki-moon. "Do you know the Night King? He's one of the trio who cleared the Duke's Grand Archive." The whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that the Night King, Han Ki-moon? President of Swirl Group, Han Ki-moon." Fame and power command respect from the awed masses. The silver-haired man's charismatic smile masks cruel manipulation as he addresses the crowd. "Who's that sexy lady next to you?" "Just someone I happen to meet and party with." But his words to Catherine cut like knives. "Remember this well, Catherine. If they find out I have a daughter like you, just imagine the outrage and backlash they'd cause." The crowd's excitement about Han Ki-moon contrasts sharply with the hidden abuse occurring in plain sight. "Move!" The armored soldiers push through the crowd with violent force. The young man in heavy armor seethes with frustration. "Are you blocking the way? If I miss my chance to meet Han Ki-moon because of you, you'll pay for it." Meanwhile, the shadowy figure processes a dark realization. "Right, you are the precious Senaming Group's daughter. No matter how bad your life is, it can't be worse than mine." Wait a second. A final, terrible conclusion forms in his mind. "You've been trapped in a place like this." The silver-armored man's shock echoes through the damp stone sewer. The short-haired youth recounts his desperate flight. "Back then, I was arrested by the guards and managed to escape while being dragged away. Since then, I've been hiding here." The old bearded man philosophizes darkly. "It's not so bad, actually. You can see views here that you'd never get to see outside. The underground refuge reveals its own harsh truths." "What? Who's injured?" The gray-armored man panics as the truth unfolds. Someone explains the game's cruel mechanics. Pain in Heaven's Door is only transmitted through signals in the brain. In other words, our bodies only feel pain but don't actually bruise or swell. But the reality is far worse. Her body. The woman in the red dress stands beside the knight, and the marks of physical abuse are unmistakable. The black-haired boy's eyes widen in horrified understanding. "Wait, hold on a second." The young man in his dark suit explodes with righteous fury. "Hey, mister, how dare you kidnap someone in broad daylight in front of all these people?" The silver-haired man maintains his charismatic facade. "Haha, I don't know what you're talking about, but please refrain from saying such things since it could cause misunderstandings." The armored challenger pushes back. "Do you have no shame? Aren't you supposed to be a big company's president? Do people like you not have to follow the law?" "That woman, she's my girlfriend Tilda." The young man's declaration shocks the crowd as soldiers swarm around them. Could that be true? If it is, that's a huge scandal. Observers debate frantically while recording with their devices. But there's no evidence. Big corporations get slandered with fake news all the time. The white-haired woman reacts with pure shock to being called his girlfriend. The older man in ornate armor suggests reasonably, if that woman isn't my girlfriend, then who is she to you? You're partying alone with a woman in such revealing clothes. You perverted old man. The silver-haired man's disbelief shows I thought he was a good guy. But his companion dismisses the situation coldly. That's not even worth answering. We'll be going now. Suddenly, recognition strikes someone in the crowd. Oh, you two are together. Patrick Seunju appears in his butler's suit, announcing himself with formal authority. Patrick Seunju, serving group's elite butler. Upon hearing that its candidate had awakened, rushed here at once. The woman in red reaches toward him. The future of Seunju Group. What on earth is happening right now? The silver-haired girl's distress mirrors the crowd's confusion as major breaking news unfolds. Did you hear that? That's President Han's daughter. The revelation sends shockwaves through the gathered people. That's major breaking news. But look at her. How could they entrust a company to someone like that? Others question the truth. What are you talking about? Didn't President Han say she's just a temporary party member? A mysterious figure in dark armor looms ominously, muttering about someone being screwed. Come on, let's be honest, President. The young man in his dark suit leans forward aggressively, his fierce expression cutting through Han's facade. You bastard. Wouldn't it be better to just admit she's your daughter now? His strategic thinking emerges. If you do that, I'll make sure to clarify that I must have been crazy, I mistook her for someone else, and that I have no relationship whatsoever with that woman. But Han's anger explodes as he questions the youth's authority, his armored boots slamming down with threatening force. Everyone, there's no need to be swayed by him. The heavy armored soldier's voice booms across the chaotic square. Don't believe a word this guy says. The young man clutches his head in frustration. What kind of skill is this? What kind of loud-ass voice does this old man have? Even that self-proclaimed Seniming Group butler. His paranoia spirals as he realizes the scope of the conspiracy. They're all conspiring to blackmail me. The white-haired woman hunches dramatically, feeling the weight of the scheme closing around her. Han Kimoon will never waver, because the silver-haired man's declaration rings with absolute authority as his armor gleams with golden light. His weapon pulses with deadly energy as he announces his intent. I will prove that none of you have any relation to me. His opponent rushes forward with sword raised, desperate to challenge the overwhelming power before him. The arena blazes with tension as two forces prepare to collide in a battle that will determine everything. Execute all three of them right here and now. The white-haired warrior's command cuts through the air like a blade. The system responds instantly, activating PK mode, as his combat aura flares to life. Everyone, prove you have nothing to do with me. His sword swings downward with devastating force as he demands the ultimate proof. Prove it. The crowd recoils in terror as death becomes the arbiter of truth. Chaos erupts as the line between justice and murder dissolves. Kogwang Enus. The explosion tears through the battlefield as the young man in his dark suit grins with perfect timing. Perfect timing. His excitement peaks as he spots his ally Nice Gobble. But the armored figure with the green visor panics, screaming, F***K, don't come this way. The youth's terror is palpable. If they find out I'm on the same side as the guy who took down the chairman, it's all over. The goblin prepares to fight as he shouts, F***K, get lost already. What is that? The crowd's disbelief echoes across the cracked ground as they process the impossible. No idea who that is, but they suddenly charged in. Are they crazy or what? What the hell just happened? They took down the Night King in a single blow. Catherine kneels in terror as the gray-armored man tries to comfort her. But her violent resistance reveals her deeper truth. She won't be saved, not by anyone. So just stop caring whether I die like before. The dark-haired character's anguish explodes as he challenges Han directly. Don't tell me what to do, whether I abandon you or care is all up to me. But the crying character with silver hair breaks down completely, tears streaming as they face their worthlessness. Waiting for a knight in shining armor. Wake up, be *TCH. This place is full of trash like me. The imposing armored figure looms in the background, a reminder of the overwhelming power that controls their fate. Now you've got a chance too. The black-haired man's sinister smile spreads as he encourages violence. So stop just begging on your knees, give your dad a good smack in the back of the head. His taunting continues, you're good at stabbing people in the back. The shadowy figure behind him brandishes a knife, ready to strike. But the mood shifts abruptly as the white-haired girl realizes her mistake. Huh. Oh no, looking up close, you're really not my girlfriend. Her nervous laughter breaks the tension as she mentions forgetting to turn off the gas at home. Debris flies through the air as chaos erupts in the distance. The young woman with long white hair and her glowing tattoo stands at the forefront, watching intently. The older man in his formal black suit approaches with respectful determination. Well then, young lady. His gesture is slight but meaningful as he speaks. If you have anything to say, now's the time. Their hands meet in a moment of connection, her delicate touch contrasting with his formal authority. She gazes ahead with soft resolve, ready to face whatever comes next. The white-haired girl with piercing red eyes declares her identity with unwavering determination. The report reveals the shocking truth. The two-faced Han Gi-moon, chairman of Senaming Group, a gentleman in public, an abusive father at home. Catherine's voice breaks with devastating honesty. I want to die. The world was shaken by the story of Han Gi-moon. A young man in a casual black shirt watches the news coverage, processing the magnitude of Catherine's declaration about her history of domestic violence. The controversy explodes across all media as the truth spreads. A graph shows Senaming Group stock prices plummeting into free fall. As a result, Senaming Group's image and stock price plummeted. Han Gi-moon watches with sardonic amusement, his slight smirk betraying his confidence. Well, Han Gi-moon, the frail figure in the wheelchair, covered in a white shawl and surrounded by men in black suits, faces the press's relentless scrutiny. He suddenly claims to feel sick, but Han's cynical assessment cuts through the performance. He's probably just faking it. So this is the happy ending. Right? Damn it, I'm so anxious. I can't sleep. The boy in light armor voices his terror in the dimly lit restaurant. What if he suddenly hires a killer to take me out? The calm older man in his tuxedo holds his glass steadily. I'd appreciate it if you could keep it down in the restaurant. But the threat is real. Photos of you and Han Gi-moon clashing are already circulating everywhere. The young man's paranoia consumes him as he realizes he's now a target in a deadly game of corporate warfare. In the shadows of a dimly lit bar, the distinguished butler speaks with quiet authority. Trust me. His words carry weight that money cannot buy. But his companion with the metallic arm scoffs, preferring to trust a booger over empty promises. Suddenly, tension erupts as thugs burst through the entrance, seizing a terrified man in a colorful hoodie. The captive's panicked question cuts through the chaos. Are you with the Senaming Group? The armored thug's dismissive response only deepens the mystery. Gratitude flows between two unlikely allies as the formal man acknowledges the other's heroic deed. You help the young lady regain consciousness, but the casual hero's frustration bubbles over. After such a great act, shouldn't there be some material reward? The chairman's stinginess burns like salt in an open wound. Sleep has become his enemy, anxiety his constant companion. Why has the only person who could care for Catherine left her side? The world watches with bated breath as fear grips every heart that cares for Catherine. The stern man in his tuxedo voices what everyone thinks. They worry she'll be harmed for bringing down a major chairman. But Catherine has found her own shield. Streaming on Yi-Fi Cat. Her white hair gleams under studio lights as donations pour in from supporters worldwide. If she ever stops streaming unexpectedly, that silence will signal the gravest danger. Back in the restaurant's amber glow, the polished gentleman speaks of Catherine's strength. She's finally reclaiming everything she was denied. Kim Cheol-soo explodes in awkward gratitude, calling the man a creep before catching himself. The gentleman's calm acknowledgement cuts deep. It's thanks to you, Kim Cheol-soo. When money is desperately requested, a knowing smile spreads across the older man's face. Check your mailbox. A gift awaits. The bar erupts in playful chaos as Catherine's stream explodes with donations. 3,000, 10,000. The white-haired streamer laughs at absurd requests, dancing with a motorcycle. But beneath the humor, a thoughtful voice emerges. Perhaps Catherine is destined for something greater than mere inheritance. Meanwhile, the confident Rachel introduces herself at her desk, handling mysterious parcels with professional grace. The transaction carries hints of valuable, dangerous contents. Rachel stands proudly among shelves of mystical items, her blue suit pristine as she announces the safekeeping of Mr. Z. Kim Cheol-soo's cursed artifact. The whip gleams ominously in her hands as she warns, even touching it will make you lose your mind. But the dark-haired recipient snaps with irritation, questioning who asked her to fetch anything. When the whip's rarity is revealed, shock ripples through the storage room. Some gifts are more dangerous than they appear. Confusion grips our hero as he stares at the cursed item. What exactly is this curse? Will it transform him into an NPC like the others? Catherine's parting gift might be his doom, but urgency interrupts his fears as a confident man in flowing robes appears, announcing the next quest with theatrical flair. The Goblin Village Sweep, a simple mission to eliminate the nasty creatures harassing people. In this medieval town's cobblestone streets, nothing is ever simple. Face to face with a comically expressive green goblin, our armored hero states the inevitable truth: fighting goblins in a game is destiny. But did that creature just snort at him? The goblin's defiant "Kiet" echoes through the rustic space as frustration mounts. He grabs the creature's arm, demanding conversation. What should be a simple encounter spirals into chaos as emotions clash between calm forest serenity and indoor mayhem. Patience snaps like a breaking rope. You never listen, always getting into trouble. The dark-haired man's fury explodes while the mischievous green creature giggles at his outburst. Do whatever you want, jerk. I hate you. His clenched fists shake with exasperation as he declares himself done talking. But the goblin's playful sounds mock his seriousness, creating a whimsical battlefield where anger meets amusement in the most absurd confrontation. Terror freezes our hero in place. The green creature before him transforms into something menacing, sharp teeth gleaming as sinister cackles fill the air. What the hell is that thing? His wide eyes reflect pure bewilderment as "Kshshshi" echoes through the ominous space. The cursed item's influence spreads like poison, turning a simple goblin into a nightmare. Standing paralyzed, he realizes he can't just wait and watch this horror unfold. Chaos erupts in the forest as the goblin, now wielding a massive weapon, screams for blood. Kill. Kill them. A cart pulled by a large goose rushes past as our armored hero hears the crash, confusion written across his face. What's that sound? But there's no time to process as the goblin launches into combat, still alive and dangerously aggressive. The peaceful forest path transforms into a battlefield of screeching violence. Ah, damn it! The goblin leaps onto his back, clinging like a wild animal as our hero struggles to maintain control. Kiehhh. The creature's shriek pierces the air while he shouts for help with the unruly beast. Not the full swing, you bastard. His exasperation reaches new heights as stone walls echo with their frantic struggle. Even the off-panel adventurer with his weapon looks alarmed by this ridiculous spectacle. A monster. Terror explodes as the goblin launches itself forward, our hero recoiling in absolute shock. A brown-coated marksman raises his gun with deadly focus, while a large red-accented bird speaks with confident authority. One shot will end this threat. But confusion reigns as contradictory orders ring out: shoot the goblin in front. Not that front, you idiot. The rustic wooden structure becomes a powder keg of misdirected violence. The goblin's desperate plea cuts through the violence. "Please spare me." Tears stream down our hero's face as shock replaces anger. The creature can speak. This changes everything. In the underground chamber's dim light, a moment of humanity pierces the chaos. The green-skinned being with large, pleading eyes reveals itself to be more than just a monster. The realization hits like a thunderbolt: they can communicate. Reality crashes down as our hero processes the impossible truth. The goblin can communicate, making him essentially a goblin summoner. At this point, I'm basically just a goblin myself. The forest path stretches toward the goblin village as a frightened soul pleads for mercy, claiming innocence. But the menacing green-skinned creature threatens total annihilation of their village. A battle-hardened observer confirms their arrival at the path, leading to inevitable confrontation. "Guess we're walking from here." Our frustrated hero accepts the journey ahead while his brown-haired companion admits his laziness. The path leads to a monster's lair, likely riddled with traps. Good thing he's not doing this alone. The nervous goblin makes a heartbreaking plea: "If someone must die, kill only me." The other goblins did nothing wrong. This simple creature's selfless sacrifice challenges everything our hero believed about monsters. "Nope, I don't save people." The dark-haired hero's wild expression reveals his breaking point as the frightened goblin defends its species. "We don't hate humans. We're a peaceful species." But accusations fly. Wasn't he coming to harass them? Aren't humans the ones who torment goblins? In the shadows, another character contemplates the nature of these so-called bad monsters. The roles of hunter and hunted blur in this dimly lit confrontation. Honey, shock and sweat mark our hero's distressed face as the goblin screams desperately, "Tina, Mason, you're noisy goblin, throw a rock over there." His frustration explodes while the anxious creature prepares to hurl the stone, eyes wide with fear. No, the goblin's panicked "Quiet" echoes through the dark, rocky environment where shadows dance between vegetation. Family names on a goblin's lips change everything. Pure terror seizes the green-skinned goblins as they flee through the chaotic forest. The larger one's wide smile masks overwhelming fear, arms flailing desperately. His smaller companion mirrors the panic in perfect, terrified synchronization. A menacing shadow reaches out ominously as the scene escalates into violence. Sharp teeth gleam in extreme close-up as one goblin pulls a makeshift weapon. Then, explosion. Debris flies as the threatening force strikes, transforming the forest into a war zone. That's enough. Our hero's firm declaration cuts through the chaos as he struggles with moral complexity. Humans have been cruel, yes, but how can he call a goblin who sacrifices itself for family evil? The wide-eyed creature nervously asks what he means, receiving unexpected mercy. "I won't kill you guys. Welcome to Goblin Village." The cavernous setting echoes with cries for honey, as frustration meets absurdity in this unprecedented moment of compassion. "Damn it!" The dark-haired hero looks skyward in complete frustration as goblins react with natural fear to human presence. The vibrant green goblin insists desperately, "I'm not a goblin," but his distressed face and tattered clothing tell a different story. "Don't worry about it," he tries to reassure, but his companion's sarcasm cuts deep. No one would think that face belongs to a human. In the dimly lit corridor, identity becomes a cruel joke. The nightmare deepens as our hero stares at goblin poison-flavored soup with horror. It literally has poison in the name. The mischievous goblin cheerfully tells kids not to run around when there are guests. Good thing this is a game, or he'd have to actually taste it. But reality strikes as vibrant purple liquid splatters across his face. "F this." His scream echoes through the rustic room as the bizarre circumstances reach their breaking point. "Kishishish." The muscular goblin's laughter booms through the dimly lit tavern as he slams his fist on the table with explosive force. "Don't laugh, you bastard." Our hero snaps, a white cloth draped around his head like a badge of humiliation. The smaller goblin marvels at this unprecedented sight, a human and goblin traveling together peacefully. "Peaceful, my ass," comes the bitter response. "To anyone else, we're just pathetic nobodies." "Geez, you're being gloomy again." The goblin with the pink ribbon tries to lift spirits, offering to grab snacks. But our hero's contemplation cuts deeper. I'm human, and yet, I don't even have a wife, let alone friends. He lacks the courage and selflessness to throw himself in danger for others like this brave goblin. There's no way someone better than me like you couldn't do what I do. Their exchange ends with a hopeful thumbs up. Let's hang in there, goblin to goblin. Thank you for the kind words. Our hero's sarcastic gratitude masks his perplexed disgust as the green creature attempts and fails at a simple task. The underground room filled with wooden tables becomes a stage for comedy as he grins and gives a thumbs up. But horror strikes when a cockroach appears. Ew, gross. His expression shifts to disturbed realization. Despite the creature's failures, it tried so hard. For him. Kayet, chaos erupts in the cramped wooden space as the pointed-nosed goblin spots his target. Ah damn, I missed it. The cockroach becomes the center of a frantic hunt as another eager creature bursts in with loud enthusiasm. Our armored hero mutters about feeling something touch him, discomfort written across his face. I want to stay longer, but time pressures him to leave. The goblin's chaotic antics provide unexpected comic relief. What should I do? The goblin with the pink bow voices anxiety as concern shifts the atmosphere. Outside the tavern, cheerful farewells ring out, safe travels, adventurer. Our dark-haired hero reflects on his departure with serious determination. Well, I'll be off. But regret colors his words. Tell the kids I'm sorry I don't say goodbye. The weight of leaving these unlikely friends behind settles over him like a heavy cloak. See, spotted one more goblin. The tall young man with spiky orange hair grins confidently, sword in hand. Told you he'd be here, he boasts to our serious armored companion. Then I'll be off, comes the focused response. In the dimly lit cave, a green goblin lies on the ground. Anticipating this moment, I knew you'd be here. The reunion carries undertones of both humor and tension as battle-ready humans prepare for action. Found one more goblin. The orange-haired warrior's announcement echoes through the rugged cavern as our dark-haired knight stares in horror. Blood pools around a lifeless green form, James, who always cooked for him. The dead goblin's still form triggers sorrowful memories. Anxious survivors appear, questioning if they too will be killed. The muscular man calmly offers assistance. Shall I lend a hand? Death has already claimed one friend. How dare you? Rage transforms our hero's face as PK mode activates, his threatening presence filling the cramped space. Geo, goblin. He commands with explosive fury while the green creatures rush forward excitedly. Kayet. The orange-haired warrior startles as goblins tackle him with playful aggression. EHHH. You're telling me to Geo. The chaotic wooden interior becomes a battlefield of misdirected goblin enthusiasm and human confusion. AHF*. The goblin with the pink bow lies in the dirt, distressed and shouting as our dark-haired hero towers over him in fury. You bastard. You're the one who should be going, not HIM. The goblin's panicked KYEHIH echoes through the debris-strewn area. The light-haired warrior questions the madness. What the hell are you doing? Accusations fly as our hero defends his actions. You're the one who attacked my friends out of nowhere. Of course I do, a huge grudge. The cloaked figure brandishes his sword while combat stance screams vengeance. AHF*. Seriously. His opponent responds with piercing-eyed frustration. Nearby characters discuss someone's surprising strength, that bastard Michael acting all hyped, not even holding back. An explosion erupts in the cave's center, filling the space with smoke and chaos. A woman in an orange hoodie finds the goblins disappointingly weak, then gasps in shock, a person. Do something about that crazy bastard. The orange-haired warrior delegates the problem while the dark-haired woman points accusingly. What? A goblin's his friend. So you killed him by PKing him. The red-haired man's frustration shows as explanations fly. He says the goblin's his friend and suddenly attacks us. Even expensive armor couldn't save the fallen player who fled in cowardice. The muddy, overgrown area becomes a courtroom of blame and justification. I just want to be done with this lame goblin extermination quest. The muscular orange-haired warrior swings his sword with determination in the dim cavern. Kyet. The green goblin lunges forward as wicked laughter fills the air. Kishush. Their sinister grins mock death itself as one goblin taunts human distress over their fallen kind. How can you laugh when your kind just died? The question hangs heavy in the grim atmosphere. The green-skinned goblin grins sinisterly as accusations fly. You know that's why there are quests to hunt and crush you. Now just die already. But an explosion disrupts the execution, sending debris flying as Hong Minchial shouts in frustration. That's enough. The brown-haired woman joins the protests as chaos escalates in the underground battle zone. Violence begets violence in an endless cycle of retribution and rage. If it's so lame, then go deal with him yourself. The confident girl in orange defiantly throws the challenge back while a muscular red-haired man points in frustration. Suddenly, a creature's terrifying scream, Ki, pierces the air with explosive exclamation marks. The strongest boss going to villagers arrives. A character in vivid orange and blue leaps into action with athletic determination, while a green-skinned warrior cackles menacingly, weapon ready. The cave trembles with anticipation. Uo! Explodes smash. The muscular warrior with red crew cut charges forward with passionate fury, his attack erupting in spectacular fashion. Did you see that? A slim observer exclaims in excitement, that goblin caught my kick with his mouth. The dark-haired girl calls out the creature's surprising strength while the warrior reminds her of earlier complaints about weak goblins. The green goblin in ragged clothes boasts confidently, wouldn't fear something he could defeat. Battle becomes performance art. Puha. The dark-haired armored man's triumphant laugh echoes with sinister confidence as his opponent shakes him in frustration. You could beat him, huh? The mockery stings as questions arise about the expected outcome. Why is it that goblins are always expected to lose? His sly expression turns accusatory. Humans always betray, their actions against goblins unjust. I've never displayed them. Comes the passionate, indignant shout from his orange-haired opponent. Don't waste your energy. The red-haired warrior with his headband warns against distraction right now. That goblin takes priority. The green-skinned creature stands defensively, aware of his precarious position. Idiots. The goblin's not listening to me right now. Anger boils as blame shifts. If you hadn't interfered, nobody would have died at his hands. Just kill it already. The goblin's sinister grin spreads despite his vulnerability, adding menace to the tense cavern atmosphere. Are you just not going to do what I say anymore? The goblin-like creature crouches in panic as authority crumbles. The muscular red-haired warrior grimaces in disbelief. He's not obeying. Desperation leads to pleading. Then what if I ask nicely? A cloaked figure is thrown violently through the air, landing with shocking impact. Please spare my life on mighty King God Emperor Majesty Supreme Goblin. The comical terror highlights the chaotic breakdown of power in this gritty underground space. If you don't fight right now, I'll die for sure. The goblin's wide, toothy grin conveys both urgency and mischief as our armored hero bows his head in humiliation. Damn it. Bowing to a goblin, but if that guy won't listen, he can't act. Pride doesn't feed you, does it? Comes the mocking response. I sincerely apologize for daring to disrespect you, O great goblin. The regal woman questions his changed attitude, Your Majesty. Desperation breeds the strangest alliances. It reached. The dark-haired man kneels in fervent prayer, hands clasped desperately as he declares, My prayer. The young woman in orange and teal watches with wide-eyed shock at this unprecedented display of submission. A green goblin observes with intrigued curiosity, while a glowing message suggests the goblin lord has been pleased by this behavior. In the rocky cavern's dim light, desperation transforms into divine comedy as pride crumbles before survival. Hey, Seojongmin. The girl in orange and blue calls urgently to the dazed, injured figure slumped against stone walls. Blood and bruises mark his face as she pleads, Come on, cut it out. It's not funny, okay? Disbelief ripples through the group. Jongmin got taken out in one hit by a goblin. That makes no sense. The dark tunnel echoes with confusion as the impossible becomes reality. How can their strongest warrior be overwhelmed so easily? Let's head back to town and regroup. The black-haired figure shouts as strategy crumbles into retreat. Wow, they came here all high and mighty to kill, and now they want to run away. The goblin-like creature in orange and blue sprints and collides with another character, falling with a surprised exclamation. The muscular red-haired warrior clenches his fists with renewed determination. Now, comrades. The world where we're oppressed just for being goblins ends now. And we won't have to hide away in suffocating caves anymore. The small goblin's eager shout echoes between two large, menacing figures. For our Messiah is here, right now on this land. Two massive green-skinned goblins loom ominously as hope transforms into zealous fervor. The one has spoken. Their desperate faith finds its prophet. But our hero's shocked expression reveals the horrifying truth. The goblins now see humans as their enemies. Kill them all. The command echoes through the dark cavern as our dark-haired hero's expression hardens from prayer to deadly determination. Now then, gather all the goblins in the village. The shift from solemnity to action crackles with electric tension. A contemplative figure in yellow takes on leadership, surrounded by goblin shadows. The counterattack's opening act begins. What started as a simple quest has become something far more dangerous than anyone imagined. Go Pepper! Light banter echoes atop the castle wall as two armored soldiers maintain their vigilant watch. Stop it, damn it, comes the annoyed response under the gloomy sky. Their casual conversation halts as curiosity strikes him. What's that? A mysterious rumbling sound reverberates through the air, drawing their attention to something approaching in the distance. The foreboding atmosphere suggests their peaceful watch is about to end. In no way is that what I think. Our silver-armored hero's disbelief explodes as green-skinned goblins rush forward with rapid movement. K-I-E-K. Their collective screech fills the air as he rallies them with commanding authority. All right, listen up, fellow goblins. In the background, the remnants of a human city stand as a grim testament to impending destruction. The human city. The battlefield is set for unprecedented warfare. 3 hours earlier, the scene rewinds to reveal the planning behind the chaos. Your enemies, kill them all. The woman with long dark hair speaks with cold determination. Her yellow top and blue pants a stark contrast to her deadly words. All right, call all the goblins in the village. Her assertive gaze burns with the fire of revolution as she stands in the dimly lit strategic meeting point. The counterattacks. The seeds of war were planted in whispered commands. Beginning starts now. Let's kill them. The goblin's bloodthirsty enthusiasm fills the dark cavern as our dark-haired hero makes one crucial exception. Don't kill that woman. She lies unconscious in her orange crop top and blue pants, unable to activate the revival feature with her party member dead. We can't let her off so easy after killing our comrades. His menacing smile while commenting on her appearance sends chills through the stone-filled space. Mercy has its own twisted form of cruelty. The chaos reaches a fever pitch as disturbing dialogue fills the air. A girl with short black hair and an orange hoodie makes a provocative declaration that shocks everyone nearby. But the real madness erupts when a muscular warrior screams his bloodthirsty battle cry, promising to kill all humans while an armored girl stands beside him. Then comes the ultimate threat. A sneering soldier warns his captives not to even think about logging out, because he controls their money and weapons. The girl protests desperately, demanding her belongings back when this nightmare ends. A chilling promise echoes through the air. When the goblin era comes, humans will be nothing but pets. The response is immediate and horrified. No way. But reality crashes down as a frantic man in a brown vest bursts into the Adventurers Guild, screaming that goblins are attacking and they need adventurers now. A confident, muscular man in black and red armor scoffs at the idea who could possibly be attacking, but the nervous stammering of witnesses confirms the unthinkable truth. A bald man in a black suit gasps in shock. A huge number of goblins are really invading. In the dimly lit tavern, A tall blonde man in a blue coat questions whether this goblin wave might just be some kind of event. It sounds fun to him. But his companion, a woman in black with a white cape, warns him not to get involved or their next dungeon run will be delayed. His cold response reveals his true nature. Suddenly, their casual conversation shatters as a green goblin bursts into the room, brandishing a weapon and charging straight at them. The atmosphere shifts from banter to deadly peril in an instant. The blonde man's shock explodes. That's a real goblin, not some joke. A young man with spiky brown hair admits he thought this was all pretend. But the dark-haired man in black clothing realizes the horrifying truth as flames erupt around them. This isn't a game anymore. The goblin screeches "Kiet" as the raid becomes devastatingly real, with explosions tearing through what was once a peaceful tavern. Flames engulf the scene as Professor Squall Foresight's confidence crumbles. Yemeni, the young boy with glasses and a green shirt, panics in what appears to be a classroom setting, his wild expression betraying his terror. The professor had looked forward to this raid, expecting maybe 100 trash mobs for easy entertainment. But Yemeni screams the truth. It's not just 100. The ominous reality becomes clear. Tens of thousands of enemies approach, maybe even more. Shadowy figures mass in the distance, turning anticipation into absolute dread. The terrifying declaration echoes, "It might be more than that." A frantic boy screams in disbelief at the overwhelming numbers, his voice lost among the chaos of green goblins flooding their vision. But amidst this pandemonium, two figures maintain their composure. Horace Philliver, the blonde gunslinger in blue, asks Charlotte Stone, the red-haired alchemist, a pointed question. Their town is in danger. Surely she won't just sit back and watch it burn. Inside the tavern, the blonde man pleads for his companions to stay back and watch. But his plea falls on deaf ears. An elf with short blue hair and silver armor expresses her disgust. These goblins really aren't cute, unlike the ones she's seen before. With decisive authority, she calls to Michelle, signaling it's time to act. Outside, chaos erupts as a menacing mustachioed figure bursts forward, laughing maniacally while urging his companion to show their strength against the goblin threat. The chase begins as characters flee through cobblestone streets, goblins screeching "Kyaah" in pursuit. But Gisfli, the girl in pink, makes a startling discovery. These goblins are weak. A confused goblin mutters Kiet in disbelief. The dark-haired girl in a green jacket agrees with Gisfli's assessment. Goblins were always just trash mobs. Their confidence builds as multiple voices call out "Fireball," preparing a coordinated magical assault against the supposedly weak creatures. The explosion tears through the scene as a frantic soldier screams that these things are nothing. They're crazy like hell and must die. Another wild-looking warrior orders his allies to wipe them all out. But something shifts in the chaos. An armored character shouts in frustration about humans daring to fight back, while a girl with short black hair and an orange jacket contemplates whether she should quit this nightmare. The battlefield reveals the true horror. This isn't the easy fight they expected. A gleeful goblin clutches a rock, cackling with mischievous intent as it prepares its strike. Behind the chaos, three silhouetted figures celebrate against a backdrop of flames. One character shouts "Kyaah," claiming that wiping out goblins in a horde is actually fun, great stress relief. But their celebration is short-lived. A bald character with dark hair tied back stares in bewildered confusion, muttering "huh" as reality hits. A frantic goblin charges forward with a battle cry of strike, turning the tables on the overconfident adventurers. The tide turns brutally as a menacing goblin in tattered green brandishes its weapon, letting out a shrill cry. Terror-filled screams pierce the air as panic-stricken characters, a girl with long red hair and a dark-haired boy, show visible injuries, their faces twisted in horror. A dark-haired man in silver armor expresses his disbelief at the carnage unfolding. A young character in bright colors asks the question everyone fears: are those really goblins? The answer comes in the form of more screeching Kiet, as the creatures prove they're far deadlier than anyone imagined. Kiee. The goblins charge with renewed fury, kicking up debris in their wake. A character in dark attire with short black hair raises his hand in desperate protest, shouting that the goblins have done enough damage already. But the creatures have different plans. They're planning to target other humans now. He declares that this much destruction is more than enough and orders them to stop. But his pleas fall on deaf ears as a young girl in a pink cloak finds herself surrounded, the goblins screeching Kiee as they drag her away. Her terrified cry echoes as she asks where they're taking her. The dark-armored character bends down, gritting his teeth in pure rage as he shouts at the crazy bastard to let go of him. A small green creature with wild hair and a manic expression drags an unconscious person with bright pink hair across the ground. Then a massive, menacing green beast appears, its gaping mouth filled with sharp teeth as it roars with terrifying presence. The armored character's frustration reaches its peak as he mutters about these crazy bastards, his expression a mix of determination and disbelief. In the background, another figure screams in absolute terror. The nightmare becomes reality as a girl in pink lies on the dark ground, multiple small green goblins clawing at her with their sharp talons. Their wide, malicious grins reveal their sadistic nature as she writhes in fear and panic. The murky, ominous atmosphere amplifies the horror of her situation. An external voice confirms what everyone can see: they've completely lost their minds. The goblins have abandoned any pretense of rationality, their mischievous expressions twisted into something far more sinister and dangerous. A foot clad in white pants and yellow ankle-covering steps into view, preparing for action. A heroic figure in a yellow cape raises his sword against the charging goblins, but the scene reveals the true stakes. A young girl with long brown hair in a pink dress lies vulnerable on the ground, surrounded by menacing green-skinned creatures. A dark-haired boy's eyes widen in shock as he recognizes someone, exclaiming, "You're." The blonde swordsman questions why goblins have come to such a place, deepening the mystery of this coordinated attack. The rugged man with short black hair desperately questions his golden-haired companion about their dire situation, but gets only confused stammering in response. A young adventurer fights desperately with his sword against several goblins, but the overwhelming truth becomes clear. While the adventurers are lasting well in combat, the goblins massively outnumber them. Even small damage will wear the humans down over time. The golden-haired warrior, gripping his large sword with determination despite his pain, acknowledges that they can't let this battle drag on forever. A heated philosophical debate erupts in the rocky ruins as the blond man in his yellow cape calmly challenges the system. He argues that adventurers keep giving quests to kill innocent goblins. The next quest is to wipe out an entire goblin village. Evil monsters. That's just become their convenient definition. He asks the painful question: can't anyone understand how goblins might feel when they're hunted by people they've never met? The dark-armored character listens with gritted teeth, tension building as opposing worldviews clash. The dark-haired boy's fury explodes. "Fuck you. What the hell do you know?" His passionate defense of goblins erupts as he claims they have families and raise children, living more humanely than humans themselves. But the blond man counters with cold logic. Goblins are monsters born in the abyss, without family or children. Every action is merely a lie designed to trick adventurers. The philosophical divide deepens in this shadowy forest setting. Two opposing views of humanity and monstrosity clashing with devastating intensity. The tension thickens under the red and black sky as the argument reaches its philosophical core. The need to keep goblins under control becomes clear, just so the balance doesn't break. The character with short black hair and dark clothing boldly confronts his opponent. "Don't screw with me." His pointed question cuts deep. "Even if that's true, have you ever thought of the ones you killed?" The retort is sharp and dangerous. If you were to eat a hot meal made by them, his words would sound different. His eyes widen in alarmed realization as the gravity of the situation hits. The disturbing truth manifests in a bowl of greenish soup labeled Goblin poison-flavored soup, held in trembling hands. A rugged man recoils in disgust, shouting about a cockroach gross. The anxious armored character with golden hair suddenly realizes something troubling about their reality, stuttering that this is just a game. His disbelief grows as he insists that monsters just spawn in games. They don't breed offspring. They were just pretending. But the cockroach continues to torment him, shattering his comfortable illusions about their virtual world. By the water's edge, a figure in dark clothing crouches in dejected fury, cursing these fucks, before shouting that he's been tricked. The blonde warrior in his flowing yellow cape confronts the black-clad figure with urgency, demanding to know where he's going. Meanwhile, the woman in bright orange and blue contemplates her predicament, wondering if she's been mixed up in something much bigger than expected. A sinister goblin appears, wielding the rally skill, its malicious smile promising to summon reinforcements for the escalating battle. The dark-haired boy's commanding voice cuts through the chaos. Listen up, all goblins. His fierce expression and intense eyes focus on rallying every creature to his cause. Behind him, a muscular green-skinned figure in orange and blue looks surprised yet honored by the attention. The boy continues his urgent declaration. This is enough. All goblins should stop fighting. His authority rings through the village square as concerned and battle-ready goblins listen. His final words echo with desperate intensity. Stop fighting. His wide-eyed, distressed expression reveals the weight of responsibility he carries. Chaos erupts as monstrous green creatures with gaping mouths refuse to obey, causing panic about losing control over them. The situation has escalated beyond anyone's expectations. A man in dark uniform, marked by fear and sweat, struggles desperately with a writhing green creature. A determined woman in orange and blue confronts him about his actions with the beast. He nervously tries to deflect blame, claiming he's just performing a suplex, but his panic betrays the truth. A calm figure in a tailored outfit observes the turmoil, suggesting he might understand what's really happening. A vibrant green goblin energetically shouts to go kill tons of goblins, creating an absurd and chaotic mood. The tall, dark-haired man in gray armor breathes a sigh of relief, acknowledging that the previous situation could have turned disastrous. But the goblin, suddenly petrified, frantically waves its arms and shouts, "I'm screwed." The man turns to the creature with irritation and disbelief as it tries to blame him for some mishap. He protests that he didn't suplex the goblin, just merely tripped. The goblin awkwardly grasps a small stone in the gloomy ruins, adding humor to their increasingly complicated relationship. K.I.E.K. The goblin leaps toward the boy in black armor, tackling him as he exclaims fuck in surprise and alarm. A girl with short black hair and an orange top watches in shock, her face showing deep concern. She turns solemnly to the protagonist, saying with grave finality, "I won't forget your sacrifice." As the chaos unfolds, a rallying call echoes through the air. The boy grows aggressive, confronting his attacker and expressing outrage that it actually threw a rock at him. "Why, you fucker." He asserts his dominance with growing determination. "This won't do." The green goblin's wide grin accompanies its confused keek, as the boy in the dark jacket commands that it needs to be taught a lesson. Nearby, a silver-haired girl with pointed ears and a fur-lined cloak contemplates the situation, asking about a rock with growing bewilderment. Her shock deepens as she acknowledges a red whip. The atmosphere grows tense as she realizes the implications. Her exclamation rings out, "That idiot." Her concern is evident as she recognizes someone's reckless actions in the shadowy urban environment around them. The silver-armored warrior charges forward with fierce determination, wielding a glowing red weapon as he shouts that Catherine's gift finally makes sense. It was meant for giving the goblin a beating. An explosion erupts nearby, highlighting the combat's intensity. A dark-clothed antagonist with red accents laughs maniacally as he dispatches creatures, claiming that even trash mobs are fun to kill when they're bunched together. Meanwhile, a worried man in professional attire speaks anxiously on his phone about reaching the limits of healing and losing other adventurers. The chaos spreads across multiple fronts. A dark-haired young man in red smirks with cruel satisfaction, declaring that if goblins die to the adventurers, that's just what they deserve. Those who fall to the creatures will be kicked from the guild. Nearby, a character in gray armor fires his pistol with explosive sound effects, triumphantly claiming his 100th headshot. He believes he's gotten enough practice with pistols now. But a skeptical woman with long red hair in a blue coat points out the discrepancy. There were 100 gunshots, but only 99 monsters killed. The conversation reveals both camaraderie and underlying tensions among the group. The blond man in his dark blue jacket confidently questions his companion. "I'm not doubting your skills, but you sure you didn't forget to count that one?" Charlotte, the woman with long red hair, responds with startled confusion. "Huh, what do you?" Below them, a green goblin mid-leap screams NEK in desperate terror as it faces its doom. Blood splatters as violence erupts. In a light-hearted contrast, a red-haired character announces "Ta-da," presenting Charlotte with a fountain of blood beneath a red tree. The chaotic overview shows the intense skirmish with numerous goblins and a black-armored figure amid excited battle cries. A commanding figure in a dark jacket shouts with urgency, "Don't just kill the goblins one by one like that." His strategic mind demands efficiency. Another warrior, wielding a flaming sword, declares he'll show everyone how farming is properly done, his fierce presence accompanied by dramatic fiery energy. The green goblins cry out KIEK and KIEK in panic, their wide eyes and exaggerated features showing pure terror. But amidst the chaos, a boy with round glasses and a buttoned shirt notices something unusual, his concerned expression hinting at a hidden danger lurking among the goblin ranks. The green creatures gather around their leader, looking startled as the sinister figure with sharp features and a pinkish hue scrutinizes the battlefield. A man in a brown suit with glasses shows deep concern, exclaiming that something is definitely off. His awareness of danger proves prophetic as an explosion erupts in the area, sending debris flying through the air. The armored figure prepares his devastating counterattack, flames swirling around him as he readies his meteor blaster. The tide of battle is about to shift dramatically. Burn UUUUP. The muscular character with light brown spiky hair roars with pure exuberance as fiery explosions erupt around him. KWANG. An enormous blast lights up the skyline, the bright flash silhouetting the city against a vibrant sky. He grins with maniacal glee, proclaiming that whether it's goblins, dragons, or whatever else, he'll burn them all to a crisp. The surrounding environment becomes an inferno of destruction. But in the final moment, a leg steps carefully through the lava with an ominous SSS sound, suggesting that something far more dangerous has survived his devastating assault. The grinning man with wild brown hair and burning red eyes stands amidst the flames, his fierce appearance enhanced by his dark outfit with red collar. His bewildered "huh" suggests he's heard something unexpected. Beside him, a fire demon creature engulfed in flames emits a menacing grrrrrr, its sharp claws and aggressive stance promising violence. A humorous caption comments, "Would you look at this guy?" as if addressing the viewer directly. In stark contrast, a determined blue-haired character in white appears, sword glowing ominously red, ready for the impending confrontation between fire and blade. The dark-clad warrior makes his swift move, his weapon arcing in a red streak toward the grotesque goblin whose malicious grin reveals its twisted nature. The creature narrowly dodges, its eyes wide with excitement as a thin red whip extends from its hand. Explosive impact sends debris flying as the weapon strikes the ground. The female warrior with long purple hair panics. She's too late. Her anger erupts as she questions how such a thing could happen. Another character with white hair urgently commands her to unsummon her minion immediately. Time is running out. The dark-armored character with spiky black hair gasps in shock, his wide eyes and open mouth revealing his horror, cheese. Unconscious. The pinkish creature-like leader smiles sinisterly with its sharp features, adding an unsettling presence to the chaos. The calm elf with light blue hair assesses the situation with confidence, explaining that in return for being unable to control a minion, the crazed status raises their stats massively. She acknowledges that thankfully, for a monster of this level, she can handle the threat, but her confidence may be misplaced. He's fast. The realization hits as they face this transformed opponent. A fierce character with a wide, menacing grin reveals sharp teeth, radiating chaotic energy. An anxious figure in white crouches low, preparing for action as danger escalates. This isn't all. The true danger of the crazed status becomes clear. The creature won't even recognize its master anymore. A nervous character stammers he, as fear takes hold. The unstable alliance has created their worst nightmare, an uncontrollable ally more dangerous than any enemy. The large white fox-like creature stands commanding with hands raised, exuding authority and power. A blue bird takes flight, wings spread wide as it soars through the blue sky. A red creature with elongated form charges forward, claws extended and mouth agape in a fierce scream. The light blue-haired character shouts urgently to Michelle, their intense expression emphasizing the gravity of the moment. The fox creature growls intensely, MEOW, as it prepares to confront the incoming threat. The battlefield is set for an epic clash of summoned beasts. MEW. The white creature yells as a dark figure looms behind it, casting a red arc toward the goblin in an intense moment of action. The silvery blue-haired character in robes with feathered details looks shocked, processing the chaos with a stunned MI. The goblin with elongated limbs displays an ecstatic expression, its body glowing with menacing red energy as it shouts EK. A close-up reveals the creature's sinister, glowing eyes and extended hands. The robed character's hair flows dramatically as they invoke their counter, summon GIGAS, bringing forth their ultimate response to this threat. The massive earth elemental GIGAS emerges, its rock formation towering over the battlefield. The intimidating Gigas with muscular build and pale pink skin ascends into the air, emanating a menacing GRRR that echoes across the urban landscape. A muscular character clenches his fist with fierce determination. The Gigas launches its attack with thunderous force, the sound effect indicating its aggressive movement as cracks appear in the rocky formation. The towering buildings in the background seem small compared to this elemental force of nature. Amidst flying debris and chaos, the blue-haired character expresses certainty about the damage pop-up they witnessed. The warning is clear. If the opposing individual doesn't unsummon that goblin immediately, many people will get hurt. The dark creature with elongated arms urges Romeo to escape from this escalating danger. Meanwhile, a menacing red creature emits a threatening GRRR, its defensive stance promising violence. The battlefield has become a war zone where every second counts and innocent lives hang in the balance. The large fox-like creature with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth dominates the chaotic battlefield, rocks hurtling through the air around its menacing form. It grips a massive stone with both hands, strain evident as it prepares to launch its deadly projectile. A small rock travels through the air, intensifying the atmosphere of imminent destruction. The humanoid character with blue hair and bird-like features looks on with determination, desperately shouting to Romeo to fly away at top speed. Every moment of delay could mean death. The large blue bird soars powerfully through the air, debris scattered around its majestic form as it leaves a trail behind, emphasizing its incredible speed. A pink rabbit-like creature stands ready against the incoming barrage of rocks, its face showing alarm and fierce determination. It swings a hefty stone club with devastating force, creating a dramatic explosion effect with bold sound impacts. The bird continues its flight against a backdrop of hovering rocks, the vivid colors and dynamic movement building toward an inevitable confrontation between these mystical forces. Romeo, the dark-haired character in white and red, frantically lunges toward a massive energy blast, his desperate cry echoing across the battlefield. A woman with long flowing blue hair and armored attire watches with mixed concern and amusement. The blurred city below emphasizes the height and chaos of their aerial conflict. She speaks with disappointed familiarity. "I told you that I hoped you wouldn't be as boring as a man the next time we met." Their hands reach toward each other in a moment of desperation as he exclaims, "Damn it," their connection spanning the chaos between them. A white-haired character with aerodynamic build falls fiercely from the sky, their impact sending debris flying with a powerful bam that shakes the ground. A determined character with short pink hair crouches in dark attire, gripping a large rock infused with ethereal glow, letting out a menacing grrr of readiness. A shadowed figure prepares for attack with tense posture. The confusion spreads as someone questions, "Huh?" Meanwhile, a flame-engulfed monstrous figure fills the scene with aggressive energy, snarling with the same guttural sound as battle lines are drawn in this chaotic urban wasteland. A red-armored knight charges forward through flames and explosions, ready to unleash his flame knight skill, Eternal Flame. The man in glasses and beige jacket panics, yelling to their guildmaster about the powerful foe who withstood a meteor blast with no problem. This enemy isn't like the others they've encountered before. An angry armored man with wild hair rebukes him for suggesting they rely on others, his frustration evident as he asserts his determination to take control of the dire situation himself. The bespectacled boy in his white shirt with suspenders expresses his confusion and frustration, like I've always done. His anxious expression reveals wide eyes and furrowed brows. He explains that the reason a genius like him, with an IQ of 160, hasn't acted before was because he was always told to stay back. A powerful explosion erupts as a muscular warrior with light hair charges forward with fierce determination, wielding a large glowing spear. The scene culminates in a bright meteor-like burst on the horizon, emphasizing the dramatic stakes of their desperate situation. The anxious character with dark hair and sleeveless top asks his armored blonde companion about witnessing the massive explosion. She nods in acknowledgement, her flowing hair emphasizing their shared concern about what they just observed. Below them, the small bespectacled man in his green shirt and bow tie stares wide-eyed at the impact site, expressing alarm with the words, "Max damage." Meanwhile, a monstrous figure with elongated jaws and horrifying expression looms ominously, suggesting that the aftermath of the blast has unleashed something far more dangerous than they anticipated. In the debris-filled aftermath, a frantic boy with glasses shouts desperately for their guildmaster, his emotional distress evident as he processes the reality that players retire when unable to withstand the pain signals. A confident armored character with dark hair and red scarf stands calmly next to a smaller boy in a green striped shirt, dismissively urging the other to stop crying. "Don't make it seem like he lost." The shocked boy stammers in disbelief, "How are you alive?" The mixture of relief and confusion creates an unexpectedly humorous moment amid the destruction. The young man with glasses and beige jacket voices the harsh reality. Winning against a monster that hits with max damage every attack is 100% impossible. The typical strategy would be to run away. However, he suggests they might be able to get one hit in before their inevitable defeat. The muscular man with stern expression and dark clothing shows skepticism at even landing a single blow. But the red-armored knight remains undaunted in the final panel, his determination blazing as he declares, "I'll kill it," ready to face impossible odds with unwavering resolve. "Please wait for my signal." The bespectacled boy in his white shirt and red tie crouches behind cover, his wide eyes reflecting desperate urgency. Explosions erupt around them as he explains they can't attack first no matter what. His analysis reveals the terrifying truth: Master's attacks aren't dealing any damage at all, while every hit from that monster sends out maximum damage. The question haunts them all: just how broken is this creature that they can't even measure its level? The flames and chaos emphasize their impossible situation as they prepare for what might be their final stand. The Master unleashes his ultimate skill, Eternal Flame. Energy courses through his muscular frame as he buffs his allies for their final gambit. But time is against them. They have only one chance to land a decisive blow. The red-skinned creature grins wickedly, anticipation crackling in the air as it prepares for the inevitable clash. A determined warrior steps forward, his footsteps heavy with resolve. This is it. The monster unleashes a bone-chilling roar, fury etched across its terrifying features. A confident fighter with a sly smile acknowledges the obvious: battling this creature is sheer stupidity. But that powerful beast won't quit until it's dealt back every ounce of damage it's taken. The bespectacled boy frantically warns his allies: if this attack fails, they must retreat immediately. A device beeps ominously, glowing on the battlefield floor. The battlefield transforms into a hellscape as distant pillars thrust toward an overcast sky. Flames lick the horizon like hungry demons. But in the professor's lab, authority rings absolute. The scientist with dark hair and glasses throws his arms wide, commanding everything within his domain. His voice echoes with desperate urgency: go for it now. On the screens, the stop operation flashes. A creature wreathed in electricity prepares for the final clash. The spiky red-haired fighter admits he expected death in this battle, acknowledging his opponent's terrifying strength. But something changes. As his health plummets, power surges through his veins, a dangerous trade-off written in blood and desperation. His attack power increases with every wound suffered. The monstrous creature roars amidst the flames, ready to unleash devastation. But now, he's stronger than ever. The man in the cream shirt grips his weapon, green energy swirling around him. Shock registers across his face. The enemy is already moving. Less than 2 seconds have passed, yet their opponent strikes with impossible speed. His voice cracks with desperation as he shouts about the overwhelming level difference. A warning echoes through the chaos: continue this fight and you'll only find death waiting. Reality crashes down like a hammer blow. The short-haired man in the sleeveless top screams his disbelief. What kind of idiot risks their life in a stupid game? His orange-haired companion points at the unfazed monster, still standing after taking 300,000 damage. Fear spreads like wildfire. The heavily armored figure speaks of logging out, of retirement, of escape. Even a goblin would be more fitting than this nightmare. A moment of twisted humor breaks through the chaos. One character admits the other is finally right for once, but of course, he would never have allowed such reckless action anyway. The tension shatters completely when the shocking revelation hits: did you just lie? Yes, I lied. The server warns of overload as players desperately try to log out, but Horace must wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes that might as well be eternity. The red-haired fighter interrupts with a confident grunt, his frenetic smile cutting through the bespectacled boy's concern. The kid reminds him of the devastating damage they witnessed, below half health and still wanting to continue. The fighter's opponent furrows his brow, caught between determination and worry. In this moment of contemplation, strategies form and dissolve. The word "all" hangs in the air, a strategic thought taking shape amid the chaos. A small pink creature with large eyes prepares to throw a simple rock. The man in the cream shirt realizes the threat: a rock. But sometimes the simplest attacks prove most deadly. As the creature completes its throw, he moves swiftly, his energy weapon crackling to life. The blast erupts in a spectacular display of power, debris flying as the battlefield transforms into an inferno of destruction. Chaos reigns as reflexes fail in the heat of battle. The straw-haired man in blue admits he couldn't even react, then celebrates his lucky random shot that struck true. His guns blazed into the dangerous fray, hitting their mark through pure chance. The dark-haired fighter warns against holding them back. If he's muscling in on the rewards, there will be consequences. They charge forward together, resolve hardened by shared danger. A blue-cloaked figure strides purposefully through the dirt and debris. Suddenly, a massive demonic creature leaps into frame, muscles rippling with malevolent power. The blonde-haired character addresses it with surprising casualness, "Hey there." But the creature snarls with frustration, sharp teeth gleaming. Its earlier attack proved completely ineffective, dealing no damage whatsoever. An angry roar echoes across the battlefield as it prepares for round 2. The spiky red-haired warrior unleashes devastating power, generating a massive explosion of fire and debris. His shadowy silhouette cuts through the inferno as the smaller character with glasses watches in absolute shock. What the hell is going on? The odds of dying here dwarf any chance of survival, yet somehow these fighters refuse to step back. Courage or madness, the line blurs in the face of certain death. The confident man with spiky brown hair questions the impossible. Why aren't they all afraid of death? His intense gaze captures the chaos as he raises his hand in twisted excitement. Below, the blonde gunslinger points his weapons directly at his target, smiling with sinister amusement at the absurdity. A sudden explosion erupts dramatically. Then a monstrous creature screams in pure agony amidst the flames, rage and terror etched across its grotesque features. The dark-haired boy in gray armor clutches his head in confusion. Oh, what just happened? Disorientation clouds his vision as he discovers something green and squishy in his grasp. What is this strange object? The silver-haired woman in sleek armor observes with bemused fascination, commenting how good it feels to squeeze. Fall damage hurts like hell, but somehow this moment brings unexpected amusement to their war-torn reality. The dark-haired armored man confronts the pale elf girl who seems to have summoned the small green creature. Stop squeezing them. His protective instincts flare as he demands answers. Where is the goblin child that was with you? Her serious expression carries grave news. Unsummon him now. His confusion deepens. Why? She reveals the horrifying truth. He used a blood worm whip against the child without removing a curse. Now the consequences are spreading. The blue-haired elf with pointed ears feels the weight of another's suffering. Have you thought about the pain he must endure? Having to harm others against his will tears at her compassionate heart. The dark-haired man in black armor grows frustrated, demanding the creature be unsummoned. But desperation creeps into her voice. She doesn't know how. The revelation shocks him completely. Why would she pretend inability if she wants this more than anyone? The silver-haired elf's concern deepens as she warns that words could hurt the creature. But the dark-haired fighter dismisses her worry with a scoff. Hurt. He smirks defiantly, claiming it's irrelevant if others get hurt back since they've all harmed him before. A menacing dark figure grins wickedly, suggesting everyone should worry more about themselves. The moral battlefield proves as treacherous as the physical one raging around them. Kim Chial-soo crouches amid the rubble, shock and confusion written across his features as he processes his surroundings. In the distance, a figure wreathed in flames catches his attention. His mind struggles to comprehend what he's seeing. Goblin. The realization hits him like a physical blow. Then panels shift to reveal a menacing goblin warrior clad in dark armor, fierce expression locked in place, weapon ready for battle. The pieces fall together with terrible clarity. Kim Chial-soo's anger erupts. You were hiding something like this. His face bears the dirt and grime of intense battle as fury consumes him. He launches himself into an explosive attack, generating an enormous burst of flames and debris. The damage counter displays a devastating 780,730 as he winds up for another powerful strike. He breaks through cracked surfaces with agile precision, the destroyed cathedral backdrop emphasizing the battlefield's chaos. His determination burns brighter than the flames. The spiky-haired fighter in black and red armor confronts his opponent with seething anger, still not satisfied. Fine, he'll land the finishing blow himself. But a shocking realization strikes as he checks his resources. Not enough MP. His energy reserves have run dangerously low. Meanwhile, a pale-skinned character with red horns rushes toward the action with urgent determination, skin gleaming as they race to join the fray. The brown-haired warrior in black and red armor points accusingly, his face contorted with frustration. "What are you doing?" Gritted teeth and fierce expression reveal his desperation as he confronts another character. The green-clothed figure reacts with shock, exclaiming loudly in response. Flames and dark smoke swirl around them as green energy crackles through the air. "You said you'd win," he continues, "so why drop your sword when you promised to kill him? Fight to the end." Kim Chial-soo stands threateningly over the kneeling figure in glasses and green jacket. The desperate man yells in frustration, "You should have won like always." His voice cracks with emotion as he pleads for common sense. "If you can't win, then at least don't die. Stop this madness and run." The armored figure looks down with disdain. Who puts their real life on the line for a game? The question hangs heavy amid the rubble and flames. Kim Chial-soo shouts toward the distant gunslinger, "They're pulling out from here." His tarnished armor reflects the chaos surrounding them as he warns they won't take responsibility if the gunslinger dies. The confident blonde responds with casual indifference, deciding he'll stop too. "Those things seem more annoying than fun," he admits with a smirk. Chial-soo looks up in confusion at the mention of those things. A chaotic explosion suddenly erupts. "Damn it!" he yells in pure frustration. The spiky-haired fighter expresses his growing concern. Isn't this dangerous? If his teammate dies, his life will be buried 300 meters underground again. Desperation creeps into his voice as he suggests calling the fighter back, using rally to restore control. The silver-blonde girl in battle attire stands nearby, her serious expression focused on undoing the berserk state. But first, she warns, they must break the dangerous enhancement consuming their ally. The elf with silvery blue hair calmly interprets the devastating explosion. Among everyone in town, only the Flame Guild's guildmaster could unleash such power. Kim Chial-soo's agitation flares as he questions whether she's letting their companion die at the guild's hands. She reassures him that summoned creatures don't truly die. They simply fall asleep when their HP hits zero, waking up afterward without comprehending death itself. But uncertainty lingers about their specific goblin summon. Kim Chial-soo's desperation reaches its peak. "He is my life." His voice cracks with raw emotion as he declares he can't imagine existence without his goblin companion. "I'd rather die than live without him." The blue-haired woman watches with shocked expression, her long hair framing her concerned features. The scene shifts to a peaceful park where she holds a small pet, her casual attire contrasting sharply with Chial-soo's anguished declaration of absolute devotion. Kim Chial-soo hunches in frustration, fists clenched as he struggles to understand such devotion. How can someone value another being enough to cry out like that? The silver-haired elf reaches out, grasping his hand firmly. Her resolve shines through her determination as she promises to never let the kid he cares for die. "If that person were your master, you wouldn't be dying like this." "Sorry, Kim Chial-soo." Her words carry weight amid the war-torn backdrop. Chial-soo's frustration explodes. "What the hell are you talking about? Care for?" His spiky hair seems to bristle with urgency as he demands immediate action. There's no time. The white-haired elf maintains her calm demeanor, explaining that a berserk monster resembles an abandoned animal left wild too long. Your goblin isn't just a simple summon, think of it as a living being with only one life. The solution becomes clear through her wisdom. Kim Chial-soo questions her mention of food with growing curiosity. The silvery blue-haired elf responds with quiet confidence. It won't be easy, but she's certain their plan will work. His frustration boils over as he declares his real desire to beat the crap out of the bastard guildmaster responsible for this mess. But her mention of his sincerity strikes a chord. Strategy emerges from chaos as they plan their next desperate move. A shocking realization hits Kim Chial-soo like lightning. Wait, since that critical moment he never fed his goblin again. His mouth opens in surprise as the gravity of his negligence becomes clear. He examines the small piece of meat in his armored hand, illuminated with dramatic importance. Yeah, with this, maybe he can bring him back to his senses. Determination replaces desperation as he clutches the food tightly, then breaks into a desperate run. Wait for me, damn it. The elf with flowing hair shouts urgently, wait. She runs alongside a small green goblin, her frustration evident as she questions why he wouldn't use the summoning skill if he has food. Her pointed ears and vibrant hair catch the light as shock registers across her features. The goblins are chasing Kim Chial-su. Meanwhile, Chial-su sprints away in armor, sweat beading on his forehead as he glances back in fear, acutely aware of the threat pursuing him. A green goblin with a wide, grinning mouth charges forward, elongated tongue lolling as it displays aggressive hunger. Kim Chial-su extends his hand defensively, sweat covering his alarmed face as he tries to fend off the creature. A robotic hand displays the goblin's special sausage, an item that can summon goblins once per day. Confusion overwhelms him as question marks fill his vision. Then fury explodes, "Get lost, you bastards." He runs frantically as goblins pursue him relentlessly. Kim Chial-su panics as chaos engulfs them. Shit, what's happening? Why are they suddenly swarming from everywhere? The silvery blue-haired elf with pointed ears suggests they must have caught the scent of something delicious. If they don't run fast, they're in big trouble. Meanwhile, the bespectacled character in his green shirt exclaims in surprise as he witnesses the overwhelming goblin pursuit. The urgency builds as the group rushes to escape the unexpected threat. A character screams in absolute chaos, "UWHEHA, what the hell?" Dynamic motion lines suggest someone falling or panicking amid the turmoil. A grim notification flashes across the screen, "ASFASDOSD has died." Death has claimed another victim. The armored figure with short black hair yells in frustration about leaving home without permission. But a goblin's eerie calm cuts through the chaos, simply stating its nature with ominous finality. The silver-armored character offers a sausage to the drooling pink goblin creature, anxiety evident in his urgent tone. There's no time, hurry and take this. But the berserk effect makes the creature incredibly wary, its long tongue lolling as it fixates on the food. The human tries a gentler approach. "That's right, your tasty sausage is here." The goblin's sharp teeth and protruding tongue reveal its excitement, yet caution wars with hunger in its primitive mind. The green goblin bares its sharp, dripping teeth as it lunges with its elongated tongue flickering menacingly. Kim Chial-su looks absolutely panicked, extending his arm defensively as sweat beads across his forehead. The creature's wide grin and aggressive demeanor underscore the imminent danger. Another character appears alarmed in the background as chaotic sounds echo across the battlefield. The goblin's predatory advance creates a moment of pure terror amid the surrounding mayhem. Kim Chial-su appears as a distant red figure surrounded by an eerie green swarm of goblin creatures closing in from all directions. The little monsters become increasingly menacing, reaching toward him with grasping claws. Panic consumes him as he screams desperately, "Shit, shit, shit." He battles the creatures frantically, throwing punches while his fury builds. These damn goblins. Seeking worthless trash. His anger explodes as he condemns them as greedy, selfish creatures that exist in overwhelming numbers. A character expresses growing despair. "Shin, you were right. There's just too many of them." The overwhelming numbers create a sense of hopelessness as the situation spirals beyond control. There are so many. But suddenly, a robust character with spiky black hair screams with manic fury, "That's it, it's fine for SOME to die." His volatile expression and bared teeth reveal a dangerous mental state. A green-skinned creature rises from the ground, gripping a rock while multiple eyes gleam with rage. A high mound silhouettes against a dramatic sunset as debris flies through the air, signifying utter destruction. The character in blue steel light armor struggles through the rubble, his slim build evident as shock and confusion wash over his features. A rare item notification acknowledges his blue steel light armor, while a grim message declares he has annihilated the goblins that trusted you. The weight of betrayal and the consequences of his actions create a tense atmosphere of regret. The green goblin lunges toward Kim Cheol-soo, eliciting a petrified scream from him as terror consumes his voice. Rocks spiral through the air during their intense confrontation. Cheol-soo retaliates with determination, striking back and sending a rock flying away. His expression shifts from panic to resolve as he fights for survival. A notification appears. The Goblin Lord is greatly satisfied, and 1 goblin point has been gained. Progress emerges from chaos in this brutal encounter. Kim Cheol-soo hangs suspended in midair, his spiky hair standing on end as energy swirls around him in a dark circle. The green goblin wraps its arms around him, pushing him forcefully into the ground with devastating impact. Cheol-soo gasps weakly, uttering "Goblin," as the creature's tongue hangs out in sinister delight. The goblin grins broadly, addressing him with unexpected familiarity. "You're back, mother of *****. You should have told me if you were hungry." Dark comedy emerges from the chaos. A green-haired character in black armor runs with panicked expression as a goblin yells in distress nearby. Kim Cheol-soo lies face down on the ground, expressing his frustration with harsh reality. "Fuck this, for real." The tension suddenly eases as a quest completion notification appears, detailing goblin counts and rewards. The long blue-haired character in white shows a relieved smile, noting that the enrage effect has finally worn off. Relief washes over the group after the chaotic ordeal. The tall blue-haired elf in shiny silver armor confronts the shorter dark-haired boy with pointed questions. "Did you slay all these goblins?" His warrior-like presence commands attention against the backdrop of destruction. The dark-haired boy dismisses the accusation with annoyance, suggesting his interrogator hydrate his lips first, a mocking deflection. The blue-haired elf maintains his serious demeanor, questioning whether the boy caused this goblin attack. The response comes simply, "No." Tension builds between their opposing viewpoints. The green-haired character grips his sword with alert focus, shouting "Man, okay," as he responds to a potential ally. He admits he was planning to take action anyway when something explodes nearby, drawing his attention. His surprise grows as he spots a large armored figure in the distance. The perspective shifts to reveal a crowd gathered around Goblin's lost baggage, a pile of loot with visible gold items. Curiosity and tension build as onlookers express surprise and excitement about the unexpected discovery. The scene transitions from chaotic battlefield to clinical shadows as Goblin's lost baggage hints at valuable loot. A title reveals Level 999 Goblin, suggesting monstrous power beyond imagination. 3 shadowy figures gather in a meeting, one expressing excitement. "Ooh, finally." Another responds with surprised wonder. The more illuminated figure demands immediate results on G67. The atmosphere grows ominous as they discuss destructive capabilities reaching astronomical numbers. Something terrible is brewing in the darkness. In the dimly lit room, shadowy figures discuss recent events with growing unease. The round-headed character in a dark suit expresses amazement. Even the most vicious criminals could never achieve such a devastating score. They analyze human consciousness and its effect on controlling minions. The kindness within human hearts makes creatures weak or uncontrollable, but G67 lacks human consciousness entirely. Could this make him the perfect vessel? The question hangs heavy with dark implications. 2 shadowy figures engage in heated discussion about their newfound savior after dozens of resets. The first character speaks of finally gaining what they've sought for so long, but the sharp-suited man with slick-back hair warns of catastrophe. If such a man wields such power, it will ruin everything. They realize the urgent need to keep him under control, no matter the cost. Their identity as Iscariot reveals a deeper, more sinister agenda at play. The green-haired character remains alert in the digital environment as a hand grips a computer mouse with intense focus. Phoenix El Bassor appears under Goblin attack, smoke rising from the devastated horizon. The hairy mage with his bald head reflects bitterly on his situation. He made the right choice listening to that woman, but regrets not claiming rewards for himself. Now he just wants to beat the culprit rather than kill them. An audience listens as tension builds around an unknown figure. The dark-haired young man sits stressed at a table, head in his hand, as he reflects on trusting monsters. That was so risky. He realizes he's become a goblin owner but knows too little about the summoner class. Having never owned a pet in real life, he feels uncertain about his new responsibility. He considers asking the skilled cat woman for advice when they meet again. She seems like an expert, having summoned creatures and reached high levels. The young man with messy dark hair contemplates why such a notable woman would help him. It was strange from the start. Meanwhile, the pale blue-haired character with pointed ears sits comfortably, musing about being called cute. The young man envisions this charming girl who asked for his name as someone worth dating someday, but his romantic thoughts are interrupted by an older man's shocked expletive. The bald character confirms the girl is indeed named Seungryul. Reality crashes into fantasy with jarring force. The confrontation erupts as the young man screams at the mysterious bald figure. How did this stranger find him? Was he being stalked? But the older man's smug confidence cuts deeper than any blade. He knows about the goblin. He knows everything. The young man's voice trembles with disbelief. How could this man possibly know his darkest secret? The truth hits like a sledgehammer. In the sterile glow of computer screens, the bald man delivers devastating news. It's all a bug. The goblin's incredible strength, everything that changed his life, was never meant to exist. The patch is coming. Soon, his mighty companion will be reduced to nothing more than a weak digital pet. Heaven's Door announces its verdict. 1 week, just 7 days before the update strips away everything he's built. The scene shifts to serene fields where a knight sits in contemplation, holding a small stone. The contrast is jarring, a peaceful nature against digital destruction. Time is running out, and there's nowhere to hide from the inevitable. His fist clenches as reality crashes down. The explosive curse tears from his throat. Everything he's worked for will vanish in 7 days. His goblin companion chirps obliviously, unaware that its power is borrowed time. The young man runs desperate fingers through his hair. Why now? Why when he was so close to escaping his old life? Panic consumes him as he pulls at his hair. His goblin's supernatural strength is a glitch, a game-breaking bug the developers discovered. 1 week until the patch destroys everything. He can't return to that pathetic existence. $2 million. That's what he needs before time runs out. Meanwhile, a blonde figure smirks dismissively in the shadows, mocking those who boast about slaying mere goblins. Desperation turns to rage as he confronts the quest giver. No more delays, he needs the next mission now. But the system's cold response cuts him down. Level 40 required. The bald man remains maddeningly calm as the young man screams in frustration. Time is bleeding away, and every second brings him closer to losing everything he's fought for. The scene dissolves into ethereal beauty, a mystical figure with flowing blue hair adorned with celestial symbols. Stars and crescents dance around her serene form as she stands in contemplative silence. But this peaceful vision feels like a cruel mockery. While she exists in timeless tranquility, his world crumbles with each passing moment.